May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate you. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.
Go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. Down, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne, Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now stepping up to home. Like straight out the sandlot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. Smile good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. 500 degrees, go dummy, go beast, oh no. I go beast, go deep, I OG, oh no. Apply pressure, put heat, oh no. Put that 500 degrees, oh no. 500 degrees.
Young is coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah, skirt. I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Young is coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah, skirt. I flipped my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do it? Better be on time with my bankroll. Tall fat, no ball cat, no lit word. Routine like clockwork, my wrist word.
Let's go like that. I flourish the cook, got no roof on it. I'm taunting, I'm all in the moment. Everything lit, I don't miss. Till someone get John on the line, say the invoice is coming. I'm thumbing through stacks of that cold ball. They egging me on, so I'm going off. I got them mad, I show off. They treating my life like it's no law. I never flex racks above my knees. I spit the cream on my tribe, don't I? Don't bone me, don't know me, you not regime. To the one with the condom, my eye is on it. Yeah. I see you move through the place, they precaution, they snaking, they seeing me. Money tree, wake up the royalties. I got a queen, yeah, she go with me. She making me feel like I'm royalty. It's probably cause we royalty. I just got fresh with the golden piece. Shrug, show the emoji, okay. You know it's me, diamond soul, dancing, singing like Jodeci. 10 out of 10 every time till they notice me. What you thought I was supposed to be. Ain't nobody close to me. Granted, my hits touch the billboards, and they printing my face on the billboard. They envy my drip, I'm enlightened. You should let go of that hate, but you feel more. I make them rage every time they get flamed when they hear what I say, coming straight from the source, yeah. I come a long way from the coast by the shore. My boy, I'm enjoying this. Young kids coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand up, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we going crazy. Yeah, I flip my pie, really did that 180. Yeah. I flip my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do? Better be on time with my bankroll. Talk fat, no ball, can't.
And now, your host, Sir Hill Speaks. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks. Listen, it feels too good. Let me stop what I'm doing and let me do this again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sunday. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and your families. We are glad to see you guys in the building tonight. Good to see you guys. Well, listen, I'm going to jump right into the show. We got some amazing guests tonight that are going to help us to dig into the topic of the whole Tory Lanez, Meg Thee Stallion debacle, the whole situation where Tory Lanez has been found guilty on 3 different charges. We're going to jump in tonight, but the premise of the show is going to be centered around the statement that has echoed between this year and last year: protect Black women. We're going to really discuss this. We're going to have a good conversation. Stay tuned. Invite somebody to join. We're getting ready to go there, guys. All right, let me bring up my first guest to the stage, the one of the only, the awesome couple. We all know them. We all love them. It's the tribe, the Heritage Tribe. Mr. and Mrs. She Said is in the building. Chat, show your love. They just dropped off, but they'll be right back. Bringing up my next guest, Lil Podcast, are you in the building? If you're in the building, I'm going to bring you up. Oh, no, Mr. and Mrs. She Said, they're here. Salute to you. What's going on, gang?
Hey.
Peace.
Holidays.
What's up, brother? Happy holidays. Hope all is well.
Yes.
Easy to get to see you. Bringing up the one of the only Kiki. Kiki's in the building. What's going on, Miss Kiki?
What's up, guys?
Merry Christmas. All right, guys, somebody who new to the channel but true to the game, Cam Official, one of the parts of Mindfully Misunderstood, gracing the platform for the first time. Chat, so your love from my brother from another mother. He's in the building. Cam is in the building. What's up, my brother?
What's up, family? What's up?
Yeah, good to see you, man. All right, guys, and you guys know what time it is. Sir Charles is in the building, ready to give a fresh perspective on tonight's topic. Show your love for the one of the only, Sir Charles. Oh, he's in the building. What's up, brethren?
What up, family? What's going on, Sir Harold? Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. So, look, guys, how was your Christmas today? How was your weekend?
Lovely, enjoyable, blessed.
I can't complain, man. I made some French toast this morning, so I'm extremely happy about that.
He said successful. This is a good thing. Excellent. Okay. All right, guys. Chat, what's going on, everybody? First of all, let me show some love. Lady Navo's in the building. What's going on, Lady Navo? Good to see you tonight. Glad that you are here. What's going on, Common Sense? Take heed to the messages in the building. Wally, what's going on? I don't know how to pronounce this name. Ptolemy Selenion. Dang, I sound bilingual. That's pretty convincing. What's going on? Good to see you tonight. Heritage Tribe is in the building. IXL, a new member of the channel. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Listen, let me jump right into this real quick and show some love on Christmas. Granny wants to say thank you.
Super chat.
You guys already know IXL, all-time supporter, always showing love, always here. I truly appreciate you, man. Salute to the Information Man. He says, great to see you live, brother, with a $4 super chat. Salute to Information Man. Thank you so much for the $4 super chat. Granny again wants to come back for an encore and tell you thank you as well.
Super chat.
Excellent. All right, guys, what's going on? I seen your podcast, better known as Beans, is in the building. What's up, my brother?
What's going on?
Hey, good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, guys, listen. So let's jump right into the show tonight. Again, I'm going to preface this show. Salute to Mrs. Carrington. Good to see you tonight. Protect Black women. In this whole case, one of the things that I heard come out of this was this is a win for the movement for Protect Black women. And I kind of want to explore that a little bit tonight. So before we jump into the main subject, let's react to a couple of clips that I have. All right, the first one begins with something Charlamagne the God says.
But I will say this, like, yes, I believe in protecting Black women. Protecting Black women is not just physical. We have to protect Black women mentally and emotionally. That means not cheating on them. Mm-hmm. That means going to therapy to do the work on ourselves so we're not projecting our hurt and our pain onto our women. Because I think now what people see when they hear protect Black women, they think we're just supposed to defend you with our fists. But no, it's a mental and emotional aspect of that. That's actually, we probably abuse y'all more like that than anything.
Mentally? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, starting with Sir Charles, what do you guys think about that clip and what Charlamagne the God had to say about protecting Black women?
I'm all about protecting Black women. And like I totally agree with what he said. It's not essentially about you physically protecting Black women. Sometimes it's simply not being toxic to them or not adding to the toxicity. Even if you dealing with a woman who is a train wreck, sometimes protecting the Black woman may be just getting out of her way. I've actually had experiences with Black women to whereas they were a train wreck, and simply getting out of their way was my version of protecting them. It doesn't. The thing about it is, we are in this day and age to where it's a Black man versus Black woman thing, and I think that is toxic. And we're adding to that feud when men speak against Black women. Yeah, we're all flawed. At the end of the day, none of us are perfect. And so that being said, I mean, I agree. Protect Black women, but that could just simply mean get out of their way by any means.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. He said, she said.
I can appreciate his sentiment. With that type of protection he's talking about, the therapy and, coming into relationships healed. So, to not repeat the cycle of bringing that said trauma into a relationship. But again, women can do the same. We all have some shit to bring into relationships. So everybody needs to get a little bit of therapy. So we're not coming in and bringing toxicity to one another. It's not just the men who have issues. So, therapy is good for everyone. That self-awareness is very important, coming into a union, being conscious of your intentions in that union. So, that's my drive on that.
I wouldn't disagree with the video clip or the sentiment at all. But I would add that protection comes with a certain amount of curation, with a certain amount of constructive criticism. And like Sir Charles alluded to, it's kind of like a versus type of thing going on now. But, for me, I kind of see it as the men are trying to constructively criticize and give information to the women who are susceptible to correction. But this is where, it gets a little gray, that protection has to come in a certain form. And that's where, I get on my soapbox of control, because protection is protection, like the gentleman alluded to. It's not just physical. And again, it can come with a little bit of constructive criticism, with some curation and some things that are not pleasurably palatable. But at the same time, it's protection. So, for it to be received the way it is kind of like you only want to be protected in a certain fashion. And that's where, I get a little sensitive.
Yep, Cam, it's on you.
I agree with the clip, but to piggyback off of what Mr. He said, that protection piece, and we say it all the time on our podcast. For that protection piece, it is very, men have to take that constructive criticism. We have to go back to that drawing board, and we have to implement those things that you said that we didn't do right. Versus, the woman is more susceptible to telling us what we didn't do or what we did wrong. So I think that he's totally right in that aspect of saying that that criticism part and going back to that drawing board, that might be hard for some women. So
we're going to circle back on this point because there's a theme in something that everybody said. We're going to revisit that. Kiara, what's your perspective on this? Did you agree with what Charlamagne said?
I did agree with it because it's a lot of controversies with Black women out here. So, and it's hard for us to really speak up on certain things. So it will be wonderful if a lot of men can step up and protect us in certain areas that we really fight hard to defend ourselves when we really can't.
Okay. Beans, on you, brother.
My memory is really getting worse. I got a feeling about what he said, but I can't remember it verbatim. And I was
essentially protect Black women, not just physically, but mentally. Don't cheat on them. All the non-tangible kind of things. So protect them in those ways as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to. I don't know, maybe I'm playing victim Olympic. I just really wanted to make the point, though, that's how easy it is sometimes to forget, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, in moments, you're not considering every single thing. Like, I was just telling somebody yesterday, matter of fact, I was talking to my uncle about how in this space, the YouTube space, men talk about children. They talk about women as if they're children. They talk about women as if they're terrorists. They talk about women in a bunch of different ways, right? That would demean them. And even if I emotionally wanted to defend women, I couldn't. And it's like, it's too many times, too many spaces where we're expected to protect women, including protect them from themselves. You know what I'm saying? What about our mental health? What about us emotionally and psychologically and also who's protecting us while we protecting you? Nobody. And I think that's the reason why a lot of men probably fail at the job. It's too much. I'm not necessarily saying I disagree with them. The sentiment of not cheating on your woman, that's easy. Right? But when we talk about cheating, we talk about it from a perspective of if the majority of men, which I probably couldn't argue against it, just cheat because they can. And I don't think that's the case, really. I believe that a lot of men, at least 40% of men in relationships that, they want to be faithful, they want to be committed, but it's just those other things in relationships that we are just now starting to hear about in these spaces. I had a conversation when I was talking to my uncle, same conversation yesterday. I asked him, like, did you know all of this stuff about women when you were 26? Because I felt like I needed to know it at 12. And he's 14 years older than me. So I was like, did you know this at 26? And he was like, a little bit, but not really. I probably didn't really get it until I was like starting off in my 30s. And I'm like, because I'm just now figuring out how bad women are in my 40s. So I don't agree with them, but
that's actually a good point. So what I'm going to segue into is something connected to this. So we say protect Black women. What are the contingencies? And I'm going to tell you what my dilemma is. In one hand, our women say, I'm not submitting to nobody. No, I refuse to. You can't. I won't submit to anybody if you're not my man. Well, there seems to be no parameters for protection. And so how do we balance that? What are the contingencies for this protection, or are there any? Anybody can go.
Well, I'll jump in and say right away, let's look at the definition of protection. And it is the action of protecting, or I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. A person or thing that prevents someone or something from suffering harm or injury. A person or thing that prevents someone or something from suffering harm or injury. I'm sorry. That being said, all I'm saying is it means just doing your part not to cause harm or injury to that woman. That's the very basic thing. And that doesn't, to me, in my opinion, that doesn't matter if the woman deserves it or not. It's kind of like respect. You know, a lot of people say, well, respect is earned. I disagree with that. Sometimes you respect people just because you're who you are, right? And you're a respectful person. Protection is the same thing in that manner, to whereas, you know, a woman may be toxic. And so if you can't get through to that woman through criticism, constructive criticism, like Brother He said, or then you can isolate her. And imagine if all men were on of the mindset that we are going to isolate this toxic woman. At some point, she's probably going to get her act together. But she finds one way or another, she'll find a man to interact with her because the punani is good, right? And let's face it, I don't know why. I don't know why it's like this, but good coochie and lunacy go hand in hand. And I don't know why it's like that. But
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. We know where lunacy comes from now.
Hey, but guys won't be willing to give that up because this woman is crazy, but they want to continue to get that good. Listen, man, at the end of the day, protecting a woman is simply not causing her harm or injury. And you can do your part in that, whether she deserves it or not. That doesn't matter. That's a character thing from the man's perspective. You're going to have to add to that. And so a lot of times we engage women on a toxic level, and that now we're fueling the fire. So that's my piece.
Anybody got perspective?
I mean, well, you said like the simplistic version of it, I guess, but I mean, immediately, and I know he said that's not necessarily what it means, but immediately I think about them 4 to 5 brothers that I heard about at the first half of the year last year that died trying to intervene in domestic disputes. Now, at first glance, we're going to think about the brother, he was trying to stop a fight or whatever, but we don't ever talk about how them fights even start. Right. And when you do, people get suspended from their job or canceled because you're just not even supposed to say women don't act like this. Right. But I was watching some clips earlier today from Jess Pearly that it had me baffled the way women think. There is no protecting them. There is no protecting most women. There isn't, because you have to. Most of it is going to be trying to protect them from the way they think and feel. And especially when it comes to their feelings, you can't tell them nothing. Their feelings is reality. So, you know what I'm saying? It's very hard to me. It's a slippery slope. You know, it's just like saying provision. But then what is that? If I put a roof over your head, some food on some pork and beans and rice on the table, right? And you got on some Walmart clothes, am I not providing? But are they going to look at that as providing? Are they going to feel that as providing? So that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about a woman, we might want to sit here and say as men what we believe protecting them is, but what they think it is would be something completely, totally different.
Anybody else?
I mean, I just, I get back on my soapbox because pointing out the behavior, I don't think is non-protection. Again, if I see a black woman being harmed in the street, just like a child, it's kind of a part of the rules that, you step in certain aspects. So I'm not just going around assaulting women and emotionally attacking women. So, there's a level of consideration there. So with all of this consideration, I don't think that they mean protection and people just going around maliciously attacking them. And, when we look into this matter most recent with these younger people, the protection of Black women by the court making a decision doesn't necessarily mean what happened that night happened. It just means the court came to a certain decision based on the evidence that was presented. So, when we say protection, it's a little confusing because, number one, protection is something allotted to a precious item, a diamond, gold, so on and so forth. You protect your valuables, you put them in a safe or whatever the case may be. But I can't say each and every Black woman behave in a valuable aspect. They present themselves in a matter in which they even consider themselves valuable. So, I would have to just look at the totality of when they say protection. I jump back on control, because even in, the comments, it was like when you're giving constructive criticism, you need to cater your jargon to your audience. Again, just controlling the narrative. Like, we don't understand that we need to speak to our audience. I think us, and again, this is where we stray, because we're not speaking about the Pookies and the Ray Rays. We're speaking about the men that are protecting and providing, and we don't even have the right to speak to these women. Like Bean said, there's no one who can tell them anything. I protect the women in my house 365. I pay the bills. I move as an honorable man. But if I tell a woman something about herself, she'll jump down my throat and give me 101 reasons of why I'm unqualified of telling her what I am. So, I see it as superiority. I think they really just want to be superior to men. And I can give a million reasons why I feel that way. But in 2023, I think we're just going to focus on something a little bit different, because, again, pointing out the behaviors gets looked at as non-protection. And I just think we're pointing out behaviors that we wouldn't be able to point out if you didn't exhibit the behavior.
Hold on, everybody. This is a pausable moment. It's a possible moment. Good grief. Mr. He said a mouthful. Absolutely agree with this. So it sounds like, I don't want to make this assumption for everyone, there are contingencies to protection. Now, this is not to say that we're going to be indecent, but if you want the limitless protection of Black men, then there's got to be something you give in exchange. Mrs. Carrington said something that I really agree with. She says, a criteria must be set. It must be an exclusive privilege. Black women will act better when tasked to do so. You guys agree with that? And I really want to really focus on the question. Should there be contingencies to this protection? Now, I'm of the mindset of what Charles said. There's a basic level of respect and decency we give anybody, but just being there, that comes. You have to earn that to some degree. What do you guys think about that?
I absolutely agree with Miss Carrington, because there's a lot of women that will take a man protecting her for granted. And sometimes they can be very disrespectful to that man, and that man is more respectful to her than any other man she's ever came across. So setting a criteria for that woman or women in general is the right way to go about it, because you don't want that person to take advantage of just your kindness and you being there for them.
Well, I mean, I could jump right in like double dutch again if need be. Look, at the end of the day, there's different levels to protection. You got the bronze package, you got the silver package, you got the gold, you got the platinum. You know what I'm saying? I guess what I'm speaking about is simply, we could all start with the bronze package of protection, right? That's the basics. I'll give you a real life story. And I'm trying not to get personal because this person might be watching, but I had one of my loved ones called me and said, hey, my boyfriend kicked me down the stairs with my baby in my arms, right? I looked for this guy for 3 days. I finally found him. Now, mind you, this guy's a street guy. I'm not a street guy. I'm just familiar with street things. You know what I'm saying? So I know this guy carries or what have you. I seen it. I roll up on him. I finally found him after 3 days. I stomped him out, right? I risked my life I risk my life because you know how you get so mad you ain't even thinking about you no more. You black out, right? I risk my life. Do you know they were back together 2 weeks later? They were back together 2 weeks later. I hear stories about this all the time to where men intervene, and I'm glad Beans brought it up, and I don't know if Mr. He said brought it up, where a woman is a woman is in a physical confrontation with a man, and a man a stander by, what do you call it, a guy who's standing by witnesses this, and he's basically tasked with what to do at this point. Now, men have been killed intervening. Men have been killed. Somebody said something, and I kind of agree with it. I ain't gonna lie, because based on my experience, and we all know that a lot of times if you intervene, that woman will help whip your ass with that man, right? So now, with the understanding that they might be together 2 weeks later, a man said something to me, and I thought it was pretty profound. In a situation like that, elderly, children, or handicapped, I'm jumping in, no problem. A woman, I'm calling the police. I'll call the police. And somebody might say, well, that's weak of you. Well, I have my own family that depends on me, and I wouldn't want to risk life and limb. I wouldn't want to give a woman the platinum package of protection, and when I'm dead, then the doorknob, she back with this guy. And their life goes on, and my family is without me. So I'm not for offering the platinum package to every woman. Absolutely.
And then if you bring it up and say, listen, mama, I helped you, and she's going to say, well, I didn't ask you to. Like, ma'am, what?
Facts.
Yep. Facts. Anybody else have thoughts on this?
I always say, and this might get people in their feelings, but I always tell people that person only do what you allow them to do. So if you allow that man to beat on you, you got everything coming to you. Even as a man, if you allow that woman to beat up on you, you're allowing that person to do those things. That person is only going to do what you allow them to do. So with that being said, if you're not setting those boundaries right then and there and telling that woman or telling that man, bro, you're not going to put your hands on me. You can't let somebody beat up on you for, you know what I'm saying, whether it's 3 days, 3 months, a year, whatever. You can't let that person beat on you and then all of a sudden be like, yeah, you can't put your hands on me no more. You've already let them exhibit that behavior. So they're not just going to stop doing what they've been already doing. So.
And to that point, listen, guys, we don't condone men beating on any, like, listen, we need to let that be said. But the same thing with you sisters. And it's still a demographic of y'all who like to put your hands on dudes and then rest in your femininity when it's convenient. No, keep your hands to yourself. Let me stop for that one, because I found myself getting ready to do a whole monologue on that one. Anybody else have thoughts on this?
I'm all for men using minimal necessary force, though. Minimal necessary force. Hey, I ain't gonna hit you, ass, but you ain't gonna win. Yeah, neither one of us gonna win. But I ain't gonna let you. Minimal necessary force. Go ahead.
Let's think about it right now. The whole case that everybody is talking about. If you brought it, I don't believe any of this stuff that they talking about anyway. It don't matter. Just let me put that out there. I don't believe none of. I don't know none of the facts. I ain't heard.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there in a little bit.
Yeah, don't really care. Right? I don't believe it. But at the end of the day, if he was using his hands, we wouldn't be here right now.
Now I'm gonna let that simmer. I think I know what you're saying. I'm gonna let that simmer. Hey, yo, I'm gonna play the second clip, and we're gonna respond to this. Let's respond to this really quickly. So this TikToker talks about some of the reasons why protect Black women is a thing, and I agree that protecting Black women is a thing, but our women can't put themselves in situations that put us in danger, and then we got to come rescue them. You know what I mean? Like that's unfair. So let's look at this clip, because there's some validity here, but I want to get you guys' thoughts on this.
And the Black community has decided to turn around and laugh in her face. Making a part 2 to further my point. Y'all laughed at her, called her a liar. He admitted to abusing her and then was physical with his wife on a reality TV show. Raped, abused, and groomed, blamed for being fast, and you all kept doing the love slide years later like none of that mattered. Abused and laughed at because y'all wanted to chuck up the damn deuces. Abused by a professional boxer, and y'all gave that man a biopic life story celebrating his life. Viciously attacked, but you all ran to get beats by Dre. How ironic. She was abused so much, and instead of highlighting her abuse and sticking up for victims, they named her a Jezebel and the hoe of Hollywood. Bobby Brown admitting to beating this woman, and y'all have focused on her coping mechanism or addiction, and didn't even look at the fact that the trauma that was caused on her trickled down to her daughter, and look at where her daughter is now, not with us. Need I say any more? Thank you. Get it together.
And what do you guys think about what the clip you just saw?
I just want to start off by saying I don't really believe in God. But thank you, Jesus, Allah, and Buddha for not putting that type of ignorance down my timeline. Like, you can say what you want to. Like, did she lie? Probably not. Every story she probably told about what happened with those women was true. The problem is we weren't getting the stories about what was happening to the men for decades. And then even when we were getting them, they were just telling the men, choose better. So my message to the women, choose better. I don't feel sorry for you. You want to pick the rich guy, the famous guy, you know, and try to make them into what you want them to be. That's the situation that happens to you. You want to pick the aggressive guy, the guy that beats up people for a living, right? And then try to tame him, talk to him any kind of way, and expect nothing in return because you know he's slow. I don't feel sorry for these women, man. I don't know what maybe it's a few guys that go under these TikToks and be like, oh my God, you're so right, Black Queen, Grand Rising, and peace and love and shea butter to you. Like, I don't give a damn about none of them women she put on that screen. Women have been trifling for ages and nobody ever talked about it. So no, you're not going to make me feel any way because you put up 12 women on the screen. You're not.
Now let's get Kiera and Mrs. She's in here, and then fellas will come back around as well. I want to get some women's perspective on what we saw.
It's crazy to say, but I'm gonna kind of agree with podcast with choosing better, because in the life of choosing people with money, with them women, there's been women before them that dated them that have said, like, there's been situations with them. So if you know that, why would you put yourself in that predicament to be with that person if you know this type of stuff about them? So you just set yourself up to be accountable of what you're looking for. So I agree with him with choosing better. But other than that, everybody got to take accountability of the bullshit that they do, to be honest. Men and women, and it's just that.
Kiera said, Merry Christmas to all y'all. Excellent. Mr. C said, what's your perspective on this?
Man, I can make the same kind of TikTok with some abusive women in history. That there's no light shined upon the men that are abused and dragged through the dirt. It's not, there's none of it. We don't get exposed to that. So, I'm not shocked or surprised by, that whole, giving us the information of more women being abused. This is not new. Like you said, this has never been anything new, and we have no knowledge of, anything behind it. There is an understanding that domestic violence exists. None of us agrees with it. It definitely exists. So pick better. I agree with y'all too. You know what I mean? We grow up in it. We see the shit. We watch it on TV. We hear the music. So when you get into it and you experience it and you choose to continue because the WAP is good or the D is good or they got some money, you stupid. I'm sorry. We keep making a whole bunch of excuses for somebody knocking you over the side of your head. I'm sorry. I don't think I can love you up that night. That's just me personally, but I've seen it firsthand. And I've seen more women be abusive than I've seen men in my life, personally. Women jump on men quickly, attack, verbally, crazy. So that men need to be protected as well. You know, all of this just throwing it out. We need to protect them to make them better so they can do better protecting us. How the hell can they protect us? Like you said, when we're so strong and so independent, we can't say I need help. Many of us. So, you know, walking around with this strong exterior like we don't need any help. Why are y'all going to jump to our defense? When y'all try to critique us or guide us in a better path, we reject it. We throw our hands up. I don't want to hear that. Accept me how I am because I'm good. I'm 100. And all the while, they're not. They're crumbling. Nobody's getting therapy. Nobody's taking care of themselves, but they want to knock down the man who's supposed to be there to pick you up and help you and build you up. And y'all not allowing that. So, shame on you. We got to do better. We're exposed to enough media and TV to know the story. So to continue the cycle, choose better.
I don't understand how women in general or men in general can, after somebody just beat the hell out of you, not promoting it, you can go back and have sex 2 minutes later. Like, excuse
Well, let me
me?
tell you what it is. So if you grew up seeing that and that's your way of living life, you can think that that's normal. Like there's some men who really believe that a woman being abusive to him is okay. That's just how women are. That's just how women are emotional because that has been normalized from what he's grew up around. And this is why I say it's very important. Like he's not on here now, but people like Mandrell and Dusto would say things like, forget everybody, just focus on the youth. And I'm more so like, let's focus on everybody. Everybody has value. But there's a reason for that. Because you mess kids up, you just messed up the whole generation. And so it's better for us to focus on the youth now and give them some positive examples of what love looks like. That's why I love having Heritage Tribe on here, because they are a positive example of what healthy relationship and marriage should be. And kids who don't get that, they grow up seeing mama running men in and out the house. They see, abuse in the home. Like they see people always arguing, can't really communicate. Well, that becomes the template that they use in their relationships as well. And they are unconscious of this, right? But they're perpetuating the same behavior that created the toxicity in them, right? So I think that it's incumbent on us to focus on these kids and give them a shot at life and a healthy relationship. And but to answer your question, that's why they do it. Is kids do what they saw done in their life at some point. And the whole makeup sex thing. I know we don't like to think about it this way, but makeup sex, it's toxic as crap. Because there were some women I know who they will literally cause drama and chaos, cause problems, get on the nerves, piss them off, and then want to have makeup sex. That's toxic. It seemed cool at first, but when you hit 32, 33 years old, you be like, Heifer, you gotta go. Like I don't have if you gotta trigger me to get love, there's something wrong with you, and you have to work that out. Anybody want to respond to this?
That's just sick. Like, do you want the adrenaline? That's what you're looking for? You looking for the adrenaline?
On something. She want more than the adrenaline. Anybody else have something on this? And Merry Christmas, everybody. Anybody else have something on this?
You spoke on it, so I want to once again shout out Jesus, Buddha, and Allah for providing, because that's exactly where I was going mentally, is that when we talk about protecting women, right? And then if I say something about protecting men, the people look at that like, oh, you a man, you don't need no protection. But I wasn't always a man. No man ain't born a man, right? So therefore, there was a time in my life when I wasn't a man and I deserved protection then, and we don't get it. And thank you for going through some of those examples, Sir Hill, because that's exactly what it is. When you see your mom being belligerent, loud, ignorant, and all that extra stuff, and it's bothering you, and you try to say something about it, and people tell you, boy, that's your mama, or stay out of grown folks' business, or hey, she providing a roof, you got food, shelter clothing. Don't worry about how she acting. Love her anyway. Love her through it, right? We carry that into adulthood. And it's time out for Black women to stop pretending like that's not where it comes from. Is that always where it comes from? I shouldn't even have to make that argument that it's not. But we know that that's the majority of it. The majority of it is learned behavior, right? And then at the same time, this is a question I've been wanting to ask a panel for a long time. Regardless to what you think the evolution of people have come from, cavemen, the Bible, whatever it was. If you go all the way back to the beginning, do you think that a man hit a woman? And my answer would be yes. I'm pretty sure Adam socked the hell out of Eve when he found out what happened.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
Whoa. Everybody on this Christmas day, there was nowhere found in the scripture where Adam sucked Eve anywhere. Editors, get this out of the show. Okay, go ahead, podcast.
No, I think it was in one of those books they removed from the Bible, right? It was probably in the book of Lefts, chapter rights, verse uppercuts. You know what I'm saying?
No, that wouldn't. Anybody watching that was not in the scriptures at all.
It's like, man, I thought you said this apple was good, shorty. Man, look. You hear God calling for us, you know he mad. Man, I'm over here, man. What I do, man, you the one gave the chick to me. Now I gotta work. Labor.
Happy birthday, baby Jesus.
He said God was lying. You know he was mad. And if he didn't hit it, he was mad enough to do it, right? Okay. So all I'm saying is this. It is human nature to want to sock people when they getting on your nerves. You right? We supposed to mature to a point where we don't do that, right? But that's going to be a different age for every individual. Everybody's not going to get to that point at the same time. This is why I don't believe in criminalizing these acts, right? But at the end of the day, what you got to really look at when it comes to the situation between I don't want to talk specifically about it because we ain't got to it yet, but those actors, I call them celebrities and stuff like that, is the things that go on with them set trends for the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? They create rules for the rest of us based on what's going around these type of situations. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we can really use whatever. Because I remember that one situation with Dr. Dre and old girl. I definitely remember the situation with Mike Tyson and Robin Givens. You know what I'm saying? And a couple of them other ones I think I was kind of aware of a little bit. But we can't look at those situations when, of course, all they want to do is say the men were just terrible and the women were victims. I mean, look at how they doing the coach of the Boston Celtics. They don't even want to say the woman name that's involved, but his name is out there. Why? Why does his name get put out there, but you want to protect the woman so you're not saying her name? It's like, man, I'm gonna stop talking about it.
That's a fair point, podcast.
I'm not
fair point.
Women. I'm straight on that. I'm done.
That last 30 seconds of what you said was a fair point. The other, we'll debate that. Anybody else want to comment on this?
So, going back to the learned part about how you grow up, I'm indifferent about that, right? Because I understand from a point of view, at some point you are a product of your environment, right? But you also, as a man, you have a chance and a choice. You don't have to go down the road of whatever said is already written for you per se, right? If those characteristics of what you saw your mom doing, I feel like everybody who has a parent, every parent shows you what you do want to be and what you don't want to be. Or you have two parents that show you what you don't want to be. And you have the ability to change that. You have the ability to put yourself in situations where you don't have to make choices like that.
Can I challenge that? Do you have any of the characteristics of your mother and your father today?
No.
You have none of them.
My father was an alcoholic. and he was a smoker and he was a drunk. I don't drink at all. My mother likes to buy love. I don't do that.
Right,
So,
but the question I asked you was, do you have any of the characteristics? Not necessarily the habit.
maybe probably my dad's love. That's probably about
Do you
it.
think all of the characteristics that you have from them would be good? Do you think any of them could be considered bad by somebody else? Do you think you have any of their qualities that somebody else might be frustrated by?
Oh yeah, my calmness frustrates everybody.
But you're not. But see, this is what I'm saying. You're not necessarily choosing that. You see what I'm saying? Some things develop in you, right? So this is what I hate about the word choice, because we say choice, right? But not all the time is everything a choice. Your action can be a choice, but your feeling, your emotion, or your reaction emotionally or psychologically may not necessarily be a choice.
That's a
You see what I'm
choice.
saying?
How you listen, 90% of what we go through is self-inflicted. You have every ability to see how you react. You are in control of how you react. Nobody is telling you how to react.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm just saying how you're presenting it. I'm telling you, as a man, you're supposed to be in charge of your emotion. You're supposed to know how to react in certain situations. That's not something that you're blaming on anybody else.
But wait, you're missing what I'm saying right now. So let me ask you this. Just be honest if you can. Let's not try to win, right? If I walk up to you right now and I sock you in your face, what are you going to do? Be honest.
It depends.
Come on,
because
bro.
if it's coming,
just be honest. Natural
here's
reaction.
the thing. My natural reaction, because if I get to a place where I physically want to hurt you, then I'm gonna make sure you're not breathing. So I can actually accept you punching me in the face if I can know where that came from, versus me just reacting to that.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. For me personally, I'm not just gonna put my hands on you.
Do you know me?
I know
Wait,
what happens.
do you know me?
No.
Okay, so right, you don't know me, right? And I just walk up to you and I punch you in your face.
And that's okay.
Reaction.
My natural reaction is to gauge that situation, because if I go there, right, I'm now putting myself in jeopardy to lose not only my freedom, but my family loses a father, my wife loses a husband. You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand
things
what
that go
saying,
into that.
So let's do this. Let's not make it personal. The most natural reaction, somebody hit you, is to hit them back. That's the natural reaction. Somebody hit you.
Yeah, when we were 5, that was the
for sure.
No.
I feel like
I'm 45 years old right now. If either one of y'all walk up to me and hit me, it's a brawl. We moving furniture.
Even the women?
Even the women. We move.
Oh my God. Okay, see, and I want to jump in on that. I want to
hold on, Charles. You don't
yes, I agree. I agree.
I got one piece to say. And that's why they have laws on the books for people who don't have self-control. For people who don't have self-control, that's why they got jails and prisons to lock your ass up, because you can't control your goddamn self. So let's go ahead and get the government in place to get you under control, because you can't control yourself. At the end of the day, if there's no excuse.
Not true.
If a woman, and I've been smacked by women, I never smacked them back. You know why? Because I could daze a man from a smack. A smack from me is not the same as a smack from a woman. All I did was use minimal necessary force. You're not gonna whoop my ass, and I'm not gonna beat you up. So this is gonna be a draw. That's
okay.
Control.
So Charles, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in corporal discipline when it comes to children?
Oh yeah. I've done.
So you would whoop a child?
Oh yeah. But wait
a minute. I thought a hit from you would do so much damage. Why would you ever hit a child?
No. Because at the end of the day, a spanking is not the same. That's because they actually did something wrong, and they understood that. Well, first of all, with my children, and Cam know this because he watched me raise my kids, I had a 1, 2, 3 method. I gave you 3. I said it. If you didn't do it, I say it again more firmly. The third time is an ass whooping, because that's how I was raised. I'm gonna do the timeout, and I understand timeouts may work, but let me tell you something. I didn't have to whip my children much.
Okay, wait a minute. So what you're saying is basically that you understand how to hit a child and control the force with which you hit a child.
I didn't try to beat him up though.
I'm just yes.
I didn't
know.
No, you're gonna hit him.
Know how to hit a child and control the force with which you hit a child.
Do you spank women? Are you gonna spank the woman? If a woman smacks you, are you gonna spank her?
But that doesn't take away from the fact that you know how to control the force with which you hit somebody. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what person I put in front of you, woman, man, child, grandmama, alien, a book. It doesn't matter. If you know how to control the force with which you hit a person, that goes beyond the spectrum of whatever the gender or the age of the person is that I put in front of you. But here's what I'm saying. The point that I was making is that's the natural reaction. You have Malcolm X, you have Martin Luther King. If you saying you Martin Luther King and you just gonna march and let people hit you upside the head with rocks, my man, be all for that. I'm saying I'm Malcolm X. You touch me, we moving furniture, because I'm not really giving nobody a reason to put their hands on me in the first place. Right?
But
That's where my mindset is at.
But when you're moving like that with a woman.
After you guys, let's get Mr.
No, that's not what we're talking about. Hold on, real quick, sir. That's not what we're talking about. Remember what we was talking about. The point I was making was, right, is that yes, I never denied it. You are correct, right? That you are in charge of how you control. I agree with that 100%. But what I'm saying is there are also natural reactions, right? Some things may affect people more so or less than they affect other people. I've seen mothers bury their sons and did it with a smile. I've seen other mothers bury their sons and they couldn't take it, draped over the caskets, crying their hearts out, couldn't believe it. Is one wrong? Is one stronger than the other one? How do you gauge that, right? They're both dealing with trauma in a different way. They're having the same reaction to it emotionally, but outwardly they doing something different. But what I'm saying is each action, as I grow older, I realize each action is actually normal. Neither one of them is abnormal reactions. Whether you do it with strength because you understand and accept that death happens and occurs, or whether you do it with an outpouring of grief because you just can't really wrap your mind around it for a second or emotionally grasp that you just had to bury your child. Right. So what I'm saying is in the same vein, when we see these relationships where women and men, for that matter of a fact, are more physical, right, when it comes to their reactions, right, versus somebody like you who would be like, okay, man, you know, I ain't gonna swing back on you. You just swung on me. Woo, woo, woo. Both reactions are normal. Neither one of them reactions are abnormal. And I think it's ludicrous for Sir Charles or anybody else to say that we need to police normal reactions. That don't make sense to me. Don't put your hands.
Well, no. So let's add some context here, podcast. Normal doesn't necessarily mean good. So let's be honest. Our human instincts and our proclivities are to do something that's completely drastic based off what we feel. And this is why we have education to help temper those natural instincts so we don't go completely off the edge for something minor, right? So I want to put that out there that while there are normal responses, we have to temper those with wisdom, with knowledge, with education, so on and so forth. Prime example, if your kid hits you, the normal response is to, if we're going to whoop somebody, we're going to beat them up, right? Your kid is a person too. Mm-hmm. As a parent though, if your kid is 6 years old and they slap your leg, you can't well up on them like there's somebody 24 who did the same thing, right? You have to treat the circumstance a little bit different, even though the natural inclination is to defend yourself. Right. So I want to put that out there as well. Anybody else want to respond to this?
Wait, really quickly. But you remember, Sir Charles said he had a true story situation. He got a phone call from somebody. The man did this to me. He said he went and whooped on the brother. The brother's still alive, right? Because what he say? A week later, she was right back with the dude. So again, he understood, right? I'm going to go whoop on this guy, but I ain't finna kill him. Most fights don't end in death. Most people ain't shooting at each other and killing each other. That's not it. I don't know why we responding like that's what it is, right?
I guess
if you touch me, right? You saying, okay, it makes sense for me that if you touch my cousin, niece, sister, whatever, then I'm gonna go and risk my life because you touched her and she could be with you a week later. But if you touch me, now let me just be so calm about it and relaxed about it because no, it's just me. Nah, don't put your hands on me. Period. I don't care who you are.
I want to say, I like this quote that says, the stronger a person is, the more gentler they can afford to be. And a lot of times I find that, and this is no dig at you, brother podcast, but I'm saying that I find that men who feel threatened by women because they feel like they're weaker in some way, mentally or what have you, they tend to overdo it when they engage a woman physically. I know what I can do. I know what I can. I've done it to men. I don't have to do it to a woman. To whereas like I overdo it. Now what I am I'm all about, and my sister's watching now, so she know I'm all about neutralizing the threat. Right? I'm all for neutralizing the threat. It's where we overdo it. That was uncalled for, and that typically comes from people who are weak and they feel like, I gotta disseminate, or what you call it, whatever. I gotta just overdo it. You're gonna have to overdo it most times with a woman or with people. Period. Now I can understand if a guy engages
why
me.
Why you saying overdo it though? Why?
Here's what I'm saying. Because 9 out of 9, a woman can't whoop my ass. I'm trying to tell you, unless she's a trained MMA fighter or a trained assassin, right? She can't whoop my ass. So I'm telling you, 9 out of 9, a woman can't whoop my ass. I could subdue her and neutralize the threat by using minimal necessary force. Now, a man, I will never underestimate him. I can't underestimate him. So I'm gonna try it now. I'm saying these are all self-defense situations. I'm saying move the situation into a self-defense situation. Right. If I can neutralize the threat with talking, I sure will. But if a man engages me physically, I don't know his skill set. So I'm just gonna go over the top.
Now, Sir Charles, I don't mean to cut in, but here now this is gonna be the flip side.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna be as candid as possible. I don't care that a lady can't whoop me. You hit me because you think I'm not going to defend myself. You're going to get this wrath. So the best way to prevent any of this from occurring, is don't put your hands on me because we're both adults here. You see what I'm saying? So, and I say this to say because there are women who know how to use keys and mace and stuff to hurt you, and will leverage your masculinity as a way to say, you know what, don't respond to what I did. It's like, no, man, I'm telling you this. If you have the audacity and the courage to believe you can come and do something to me and mess up my person, I think that I'm just going to sit here and be beautiful with you, man, you're not going to get that experience. And don't let my wife see it. I won't even have to do anything. My wife is straight gangster. Like I'm being very serious about this. So I'm saying this to say we got to treat women like adults, right? Because we're all adults here.
Mr. He said, let me ask you a question, right? So we can get you in here as well. Did you see this more recent video? Drunk white lady at the bar, talking crazy. She walked up on the guy, I think he was security or something. She slapped him. He slapped her back. She went flying. Right? Fell on her behind. Of course, she was dizzy. You know what I'm saying? Did you see that video?
I did. Absolutely. She had an opportunity to reflect and think about a lot in that instance. But at the same time, you know, I'm just going to land in the middle of everybody because I respect everybody's point of view and I hear what everybody's saying. But I would love to ask, you know, the people that are incarcerated, if they had a chance to sleep on it 3 or 4 hours, and then would they have made the same decision? Because I think a lot of these things, the decisions are made really rational within the matter of minutes. And I think there's nothing that I would do in about 3 or 4 minutes that could land me in the hooscow for 20 to 30 years. It's just not congruent for me. So, you know, like I said, I land in the middle of everybody. I do understand that there's a certain level of respect that we all deserve, and we should not be deliberately disrespecting anybody, and that comes with consequences. But at the same time, again, you know, a couple of minutes of a decision to take away 5 to 10 years from my life and all of the things that I provide to my family, I think I would have to just think a little bit harder on a decision.
And
you know what? I'll say this, and then we'll wrap up podcast to see as well. The reason why I'm like this, I used to be the chronic nice guy, where I'm like, ladies, oh, sugar, spice, and all that's nice. And when you get slapped enough time by them sugar and spicy women, you start to see life a whole lot differently. I really think that this is a serious thing, that we've coddled women to the degree where they don't even believe that they should receive consequence for committing crimes.
That's a fact.
Like if a man goes and hits somebody, he's think about all the most of the movies we grew up in, the little cartoons. Who the monsters mostly were men, and we have this concept that when men do something, they're men are and the bad kind, the kind that haunts you and taunts you and gets you in your sleep, and women just are these little delicate little angels. And a lot of the violence that's perpetuated, just truthful, from child to girlfriend to wife, is perpetuated by a lot of women. And while I do agree with you, Mr. He said that if you're in jail, you get a chance to reflect on some things. But I also think that this is an opportunity for us to reflect as adults and as a community, that it's unfair that men are more likely to spend time in jail or prison for the same crimes that women do when we fought so hard for equality. So it's like it's equality for benefits, not equality for responsibility. And I think that's something that we have to really look deeper at. Anybody want to respond to this before we move on?
That's exactly part of my point as a person with domestic violence is in his background. And like I say, nobody ever went to the hospital. Nobody was beat up. Nobody was bloody, broken, none of that, right? I'm the only one who has scars remaining from the fights that I had. And so, at the end of the day, I'm so glad that you just said what you just said, Sir Hill, because that matters. That's what I'm saying, is that women think, right, for a majority of them, that they should be able to hit you. You talk about getting slapped. About a year and a half ago, something like that, I was at a party my cousin threw, and this girl was being rude, and I told her, man, don't talk to me like that. What's wrong with you, right? And she slapped me. Like, right as I'm just telling her, like, don't talk to me like that, shorty, you think you is. She's like, bam, you don't know me like that, right? Everybody ran to me. Nobody ran to her. Nobody said nothing to her. Nobody questioned her. Everybody ran to me. Hey, man, listen, man, let it go, bro. I ain't even said nothing. Actually, I'm smiling because when she hit me, the first thought that came through my head was Kevin Samuels. I heard Kevin Samuels in my voice in my head, like, look, just be calm, walk up to her, smack the taste out of her mouth. You know what I'm saying? And
Wait, hold on a second.
I'm being honest.
This ain't the way Christmas is supposed to be going, y'all.
I'm just being honest though, right? But everybody ran to me. One of my cousins, he was like, look, cuz, did it hurt? And then that's when I got mad. Why? What does it matter if it hurt or not? The woman just disrespected me. If you flip the script, it wouldn't matter if I did her like this. Everybody would have been, why did you hear her? Why did you touch her? Why did you put your hands on her face? All this other stuff. And yet everybody was coming to me. And so that's when I got upset. That's when I was like, all right, now I'm finna whoop this nigga who she came here with. Because he ain't saying nothing about her putting her hands on me and all y'all talking to me. So I started coming out my stuff. Everybody started grabbing everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, listen, it's all good. Me and homie can solve this since y'all don't want me to touch her. Because at the end of the day, why y'all talking to me?
Hold on, but see, podcast.
Why y'all
but look what just happened
to me at all?
So just look what happened though. The responsibility is shifted from one person and it falls on the man. That perpetuates the very thing we're talking about, right?
True, I agree. I was in that moment. I will honestly say, do I think that's fair? No, it's not fair. But she came with you. If my woman goes somewhere with me and my woman put her hands on somebody, I'm in the middle of that. I'm trying to figure, hold on. What you in here hitting this black man for?
So Pockets, what you're saying then is that ultimately men are responsible.
No, that man who brought that woman to a space is responsible for correcting her, checking her. Yes, that man. Yes, that was his woman. That wasn't no stranger. She came there with him. So that's what I'm saying. In that moment, as soon as she touched me, he was supposed to get up and I'm like, hold on. What you putting your hands on this black man for?
Okay, I get what you're saying. I agree with that. I can agree with that.
Wait a minute, that ain't enough for you to be putting your hands on him, though. Man, apologize to this man. And then come on, let me walk you outside. That's how that should have went. Because
I don't disagree with that.
Went with me. You see what I'm saying?
Does anybody else agree with that?
To me,
I agree with podcast because I work in a bar. I just started working in a bar, and 2 weeks ago we had an incident. A young lady came in there. She was already on fire when she came in. and the security guard had to remove her. She wouldn't leave, so he had to physically grab her to remove her. She started wailing on him because she was already verbally getting loud and being disruptive. So, it's his job to remove her. Right. So instead of them, it was 2 men that walked in where instead of them grabbing her and removing her, they allowed her to beat on the security guard. And he's not just a security guard, he's an officer. So I was shocked that he didn't do more than just pick her up. He literally picked her up and threw her outside, and the men that was with her got mad at him. Mm-hmm. How do y'all get mad at him?
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. Let's say I'm at the bar, you know what I'm saying? I don't drink, so I got my little pink lemonade and Sprite, acting like I'm really doing something. I'm up there drinking my drink, and my girl slapped somebody, right? And I'm up there just chilling. I already had a long day. They got the country music going on. I'm going through it. Next thing I know, I get a tap on my back like, bruh, come do something. And I'm sitting up here like, bruh, I'm already having a rough day. Your girl out here to slap me, and I got to do something. Like, how is that my fault? I say this to women. Do not put your men in a position to get themselves hurt.
Right.
And it was so sad that they were running up on the security guard like it's not his job. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, are they serious? Did they not just see this girl bam this man at the top of his head because he didn't pick her up trying to get her out of the place?
So this is what I need y'all to understand too, right? As a person who used to do security at the clubs, and my brothers still do it to this day for like 17, 18 years now. When y'all see that we don't have no patience, and that the minute you give us any combativeness, we immediately go to the physicality. That's why. We not finna play with you. We don't got time to be sitting here in the club debating and arguing with you. When you see the flashlight go up like this and that light swerve from side to side, that's the message to let the other security guard know we about to move these dudes from right here where we at. Period, point blank.
And see the security
going outside. And if you got any money on you or any of that, we taking it.
The security guard that worked there, they got so much patience because she was in there for a good hour and a half talking so much crap to whoever she was talking to. And they allowed her in there for an hour and a half until she started going on the people that worked there.
But you know something about the situation?
Well, let me tell you something real quick. The reason why that is because the owners will tell you, because the club we worked at, it was mostly Mexican, and then they had the blacks on Sundays. They would tell us, right? They would tell us to go easy on Fridays, go easy on Saturdays, and on Sundays, hey man, do what you got to do to get these niggas out of here, right? And that's what made me not want to work there, because I'm like, bro, why you want us to be easy on these big? Well, I don't know what they call them big hats the Mexicans be wearing with the boots, with the boots with the little clinky thing on the back of it and all this. They're in the bathroom doing cocaine. You want us to be nice to them, right? So it's be nice to the ladies, be nice to the alphabet people, be nice to the Mexicans, but treat these niggas however you need to treat them to get them out of here. And that's one of the reasons why made me stop doing that, bouncing at the club stuff. But that's exactly how it go, because this what they know. They know if you get rowdy with these dudes, the worst case scenario, they might come back and try to shoot at the club. But we was right next to a police station, so that wasn't never gonna happen really. But the worst case scenario when it comes to dealing with the alphabet people or women, lawyers is involved, because they're gonna try to chase you down for some money. So that's why they try to, when you see the bouncers have that much patience, that's why, because they dealing with a specific demographic that will get lawyers involved.
And that's what I love about the bar that I work in. We right next to the police station. I ain't get that bullshit.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's move on, guys. I think we've given enough holiday presents on this particular subject. Let's move to the last clip, and then we'll get into the meat of the show. Here's the very last thing. This is what some gentlemen are saying. A very general conversation, but I want you to really hear what they're saying, and I want to get your response on that.
True words. It's black women who are the advocates for everyone, but everybody treats them like shit.
Yeah, that's the real tea.
That's the real tea,
bro.
That's the craziest part.
That's real tea.
Everybody, but they be standing up for every fucking body, bro. This is what I be saying.
Bro, this is why we say protect black women, bro.
Niggas think we saying it because
it's a trend or it's cool.
It's a trend. You're pandering. Literally. Look at what the fuck. Look at the information in front of your face,
if you're
bro.
A black man, your mother is black, bro. Your mother. I should have to say that, but bro, forget your mother. Everybody you know when you fuck with this woman is you're black. You're black.
I guarantee you, anybody who has supported you through
is a black.
Your trying times.
A black woman. A black woman. I don't know, man.
Yeah, so guys, let's start with Mr. and Mrs. He said, she said. What do you guys think about what you heard?
I mean, if they're gonna put it like that, then I gotta call Cap, right? Because, like they said, the allies of the black women that they've been lobbying for and aligning with and adopting the causes and the plights of should be coming to their aid. They shouldn't even be saying protect black women, because their advocates should be saying, we're stepping in to protect you, black women, because you've done the same for us. We've lobbied in alongside of you and your causes and whatever the case may be, or vice versa. But, it's Cap, because they're protected, number one. If it's not the way they want it to be, if it's not, under their control, that's a whole nother conversation. But again, I think chivalry is chivalry. There's a whole word for the protection of women. It's called chivalry. Lay down your jacket over a puddle. You make them walk on the inside of the street because they're not for sale. You open the door. You give flowers, so on and so forth. So again, to say we don't know how to handle you guys are, this is all Cap. We know you guys get menstruation. We know you guys get postpartum. We know you guys get menopause, and we know how to handle you guys in such fashions. So to say that we don't know how to handle you, number one, you don't get handled because you're not a package. Number two, you're lying. We do. We are absolutely here for you. And again, when we sit in these boxes and we say what we need to say, and we're met with nothing but discontent, with nothing but, I'll digress.
Blame, shame, and everything else.
Keep on cooking, man. Hey, keep on cooking, man.
All of that. Blame, shame, and turning the tables and pulling and driving the totem pole all the way to the end of the damn track. It's a whole bunch of confusion. They've done a lot of fighting, but where's the fighting for our men? Where's the fighting for the black family? The straight heterosexual woman. We're kind of shamed now because I don't like pussy. I'm sorry, Sir Hale. A little explicit. But, there's no genuine respect for it anymore. It's like something's wrong with you because you love family, and that's something that you want to push and promote. Like, no, if it's not for you, then, I understand that because it's a whole free world. But this is something I love and I honor, and it's something that I didn't get to see as a child. So I want to show people that it does exist, and you can make it happen, and it takes conscious, intentional movement. So, but yeah, I don't see them fighting for the men. I really don't. We have a couple of women who are out to expose, the privileges that exist for us women that, has not been shined upon, and those women get shamed. The Candace Owens, shout out to you. Ain't gonna throw a whole bunch of names up there, but there are some women that's out there for the fight for you gentlemen. So, look up those women. And, y'all do need an advocate, and I'm here for y'all. So bringing back shame every Sunday with Mr. She Said. Come through, because I love y'all, and I'm always advocate for y'all, for real. Don't mean I hate women, because I love us. I am one.
And something, I was getting ready to mention that part. Isn't it sad that today you have to have these disclaimers, right, to put out there so it's known that, listen, I'm not against you because I'm for, I'm for the brothers. Isn't it the world we live in is crazy? Anybody else want to respond to this?
Look at the video, right? Look at the video and look at what dude said. He said basically that black women support everybody. No, they don't. They don't support black men, goofy. They support everybody else. You're about these guys, bro. I'm not gonna call them incels because they're putting out videos. So obviously some goofy women are sleeping with them. But at the same time, these dudes are damn near the worst kind, right? Because you sitting there trying to make it seem like you being real instead of just saying, you know what? put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. We're gonna just cape for women because we're trying to get laid as much as we can, right? No, you're gonna make it like you're just being as real and as honest as you possibly can while lying to people who you obviously think don't know no better. Because right after you say, well, women support everybody, you know, I mean, they support men because your mama's a man or your mama's black. I'm sorry, because your mama's black. So that's how you know they support black men, because your mama black. What? That's your response? No, you can't. And anytime you ask them, you know what they're going to bring up, right? 3 letters. We already know what they're going to say. How do black women support black? They the ones leading the forefront in Black Lives Matter. So the only black men that black women can actually support verbally and through action is the dead ones. That's nice. Stop playing with me, bro. Like I'm so glad. I need to call my son and thank him for being him. That he is not like this. And that he's most likely going to marry a white woman or a mixed woman.
Guys, it was really good having Beans on the show tonight. I think he had some really good contributions tonight, and we're really glad to have him for Christmas. Anybody else want to respond to this? Anybody else want to respond to this?
That was confusing.
Yeah, I'll say that they may just be speaking what they witnessed from their perspective. At the end of the day, we all know that what you focus on becomes your life. It becomes your world. It becomes your reality. And I say that to say, because I'll be honest, the toxic women that I know are like few and far between. I only surround myself with positive women who uplift, who understand what is like. I mean, what it means to be feminine, to understand what it means to be, mothers or what have you. There are toxic women out there, but on a grand scale, I know way more good women than I know toxic women.
That's a fact.
But now the thing about it is, if you pay attention to the toxicity in women, then that's what's gonna be your reality. And so I think these brothers are speaking their own reality. But now to throw out a blanket statement to say that all women are championing for everyone, I think that's a bit delusional. It's a reach. But maybe these brothers are just surrounded by positive women, and that's their world. That's their reality. So
I was with you on that part. They're around positive women. That could be the case, or they're around women who just keep feeding them this narrative about how it really is. And this is why I have such a big push against intentionally led single mother households, because these young boys are just force fed in ideology about the way the world is, and it's just not that. So I do agree with you, though, that might just be his context, and he's simply responding from that context. Anybody else want to respond to this?
Yeah, I would just add to the way things can be when it comes to modern women. Conversation, vocabulary, all becomes very relative and subjective. So I think that's where, people get an idea of, what they were alluding to earlier in the speech, because when we don't have a definition of what things are, when we can't say, this is black and this is white, when it's 50 shades of gray, we really get things lost in translation. And it's really hard to get, a concrete barometer on what, acceptable behavior is, what, mature behavior is, and even what gentlemanly and what ladylike behavior can be. And when we start to get to what do ladylike mean to you, and, what does up mean? And that's when, the lines get really blurred, and we start to get to where we are now, to where shame has to be a part of the conversation. And it's not a negative condensation on shame, because shame has got to in different forms. And you say, you want to do something different, and a person has to come to a realization and say, you know what, you might be right. I might want to do something different. That's a level of shame. Just because, the way I do it, it's like, yo, listen, you need to watch yourself. And my tone and my vernacular becomes a little, and then it's shameful. But again, we got to shame from different destinations or different routes, but we still got to the same destination. And I think that's what gets lost in translation. We're not beating up on women. We're not hating women. We don't hate our moms. We love our aunties. We love the communities that we came from. But at the same time, we're not going to turn a blind eye to the behavior that not only the modern women exhibit, it's kind of correlates and it's kind of congrusive to the women that raised us. And when we start to see these patterns, we start to point them out. And again, we're hateful. We're the ones that have this negative view of life and of women and of people because we are pointing out the behaviors in which you exhibit. And I just think it's very insensitive. And when we sit in these boxes and just express the way that we feel and we get met with, you don't feel like that, or you only feel like that because, it's very dismissive, it's very insensitive. And when it happens to anybody else, a black woman will be the first one to say, don't beat him up because he's gay. Leave him alone, because that's what they did in Bed-Stuy. We didn't accept that. We didn't appreciate that. And even though it wasn't me specifically, the men in my circle did not appreciate that. And it was the women that were like, yo, you guys don't need to be doing that. Y'all need to accept them. In every female circle that I'm in, I see you need to let them do what they do and let her be her. And you can't say this and you can't say that and stop judging. And that's what they mean, Sir Hell, is because they let all of these lines get so gray that we don't have black and white anymore. And it's just pathetic.
Yeah, that man sound crazy. All three of them dudes.
You talking about on the podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is what I'm saying. You gotta back something up. You say, man, Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. I mean, man, he had 10 scoring titles. He was MVP, defensive player of the year at the same time. You know, he got 6 rings. You back it up with some concrete evidence. They said black women support everybody, right? And then went to, I mean, your mama black. It's the same thing the women do. Your mama black, right? Your mama black, your daughter black. They didn't back up how black women support black men at all. You know what I'm saying? They went to your mama black. And we just got through talking about how much destructive behavior, you know what I'm saying, these black mothers imprint on their kids. That sound like a diss to black mamas. But that's what I'm saying. We can't say nothing about black women without it sounding like a diss or you hate them or any of that. That's the whole point. And so, yeah, that was some bull, man. You got to show it to me because I don't see it. I see a couple of chicks on YouTube that is cashing in on the manosphere chips. That's what I see. I don't see nobody really like being in support of men.
Guys, so with that, let me, before we get to anybody else, I want to keep on cooking. But shout out to the unsolicited security boss in the building. Good to see you tonight. I want to take this time also to appreciate everybody who sent a super chat. So salute to Azrael with the $4.99 super chat. He says, super text black men at the family courthouse when we're being alienated from our parents. Who's protecting the Antoine Fishers of the world? Very, very good question. KP from KC5 says, protection comes from husbands. Simple concept. L. Nixon says, protect who? Most women with men in their homes don't care about their man risking his safety to protect a woman they don't know. The response is usually let their man do that. What if something happens to you? And Uncle Stu is here with the $1.99 super chat, $2 super chat. He says, I will speak on it. Thank you to everybody who has supported the stream. Guys, it is open. You're more than welcome to drop something. It is Christmas. You know, it is good content. So guys, drop something on it real quick. We're going to pick it up real quick, and then we'll be right back right after this.
Pick it up, super chat. Pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shitty, my bros raw.
Okay, so I wanted to touch on just an aspect of what was said in that clip, and that was about the gentleman's who's there when you're going through, or when you're down, or when you're going through depression, who you're going down. As a black woman who's there. Well, What about sometimes I'm depressed because of the black woman? Like what if the reason I'm down is because of, right? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as a dig, but I'm just saying I think what we're doing, particularly in conversations like this, not us specifically, is women are getting the benefit of what women did in the past. And that's not necessarily a reflection of what it is today. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, please.
I think it's all. I think. Look, 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. 3 + 3 is 6. 4 + 4 is 8. Why do I say that? Because multiple things can be true at the same time, right? What it comes down to is quantification. It comes down to what we believe is in general, what we believe is average or most of the time, right? So when we look at the numbers of everything, when you really dig deep and do some research, as a whole, black people doing all right. We struggling like everybody else. We doing all right like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But we married, we divorced. You know, the kids is doing all right. Some ain't, right? But you're not gonna have these many men from Facebook to YouTube to TikTok to Instagram talking about their issues with women, black women in particular, because we're talking about our culture, if it wasn't true. I just will say, I think none of this is really going to start impacting the way it really should impact until niggas start talking about their mamas. And I know we don't supposed to do that. We not supposed to never talk about mama. We damn near ain't supposed to talk about big mama either. But as long as men keep talking about women and they keep making it like it's just the women they're trying to date, the argument will always be, well, then you're just picking wrong. And it's the ones you pick and all of that and blah, 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 blah. Until we just start being honest and saying, man, look, my mama was toxic. Until we get 1,000 men for every major town in every major state that hit the internet and be like, yo, my mama was toxic. This stuff y'all talking about, that's my mama. This stuff y'all talking about, this attitude, this delusion, this, that, this walking men in and out of the house and all of that, that's my grandmama. That's my aunties. Those my sisters. Those my cousins. That's my family members. That's why I'm stressed out. That's why I'm on here with y'all. It ain't just because every time I go outside and try to date a woman, that's what I'm running into. I grew up with it. That's why I'm 18, 19, 21, 25, and so bitter and carrying so much vitriol around for women because I grew up in this mess. Until they start being honest, the women can continue to be dismissive.
Now, podcast, you're in here telling the truth. And I've got to protect my sisters from you. So, guys, anybody else want to respond to what was being said tonight? Anybody else have a response?
Just a little. Oh man, Sir Hell, to add, I mean, you gentlemen haven't had a voice. I'm 45, maybe the last 50, 60 years. Don't remember too many grandpas, great grandpas, let alone fathers around voicing much of anything. So God bless you guys who have grown up with those paternal parts, sides of your family. But it's many of us who have not had the window into these men, you know, and what they were going through as black men in this country. Because good Lord, can you imagine coming up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s as black men?
There you go.
Are you kidding me? So there's no empathy. There's no consideration. We don't sympathize with y'all shit. We don't care. That's where the modern day women is. So they want that traditional, you know, man, family life, but they're not worthy. They are not the quality of women that were living back then. It's not the same. We don't have this. They don't have the same purpose, the same gratitude and understanding for the plight of us all here together. So it's just different. And it's kind of shameful that now that you guys are able to voice a little bit, express y'all gripes with how we behave and how we moving around, how society is exposing us and, you know, how we're exploiting ourselves now. We don't need the media to do it for us. We're okay with it. It's no problem. Any time we can get it. You know what I mean? So now that y'all have the opportunity to speak up, we don't want to hear it. You crazy? We've been doing this all by ourselves 40, 50 years. Now y'all want to say something? Nah. You understand? So we don't have no empathy, no sympathy. We really don't care. And that's where the mindset is. So it's going to be hard to push further if our modern day women cannot empathize with the gentlemen before you guys, you know, and the plights that you guys had to push through to get where you are now. Because a lot of you guys are really successful and educated, turned around that, breaking that cycle of being great fathers and good fathers and motivational mentors and all of that. So big up to you guys, because y'all are exposed. I see y'all. It's beautiful.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a minute. That was fire. That was fire. That was dope. Mr. He said, you have something on this?
Nah, I'm not gonna follow that. She got that.
Yo, let me show you. Let me illustrate this. I kept this clip because it is just beautiful. This is what the kind of woman that every man is looking for. Now we can say she got to look a certain way, but let me tell you the heart. Take a look. Y'all seen this before?
Come on, Pops. Chicken salad is on. You want some bread, or you just gonna get a spoonful? Come,
you gotta come.
Come this way, honey. Come.
I ain't cooking for him. He a grown man. He could do it himself. I wish I would. He pick his own plate. The kids come first. Take a look at this.
Come on, Pops.
He called that man Pops. What?
Come on, Pops. Chicken salad is on. You want some bread, or you just gonna get a spoonful? Come.
You gotta come.
Come this way, honey. Come this way. So you can do chicken salad on bread, croissants. Put it on
the spinach wrap.
Lettuce. My favorite way for him is on bread. So you want me to make you a sandwich?
Taste it first, then you can make your sandwich.
Yeah,
it's
come
gonna be
in.
good.
Come in
the camera
and say hi.
This is the love of my life.
Let's see.
Hear that crunch? That's from the peppers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need?
Need a little spice for hold still. Oh yeah, it tastes right now. I'm ready.
Very cute.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's good?
Mm-hmm. While you're at it, a little sandwich. And I might as well have some nice tea and chips to go with it.
You want me to make that for you? I promised God I was going to see about you. So, here comes the sandwich.
Okay, I'm going to go just sit down there.
Hey, y'all go ahead and y'all comment. I'll be right back.
I can't believe, bro. My man at the bottom on the right. You wasn't here when these people was trying to argue me up and down, bro. That, this was acting, right? And then I'm so glad he ran it back because she said, I promised God I was going to look after you.
Now listen, even if it was acting, let's go with podcasts and say it was acting. Wouldn't it be awesome if we had that love for each other and the way we talk to one another, the way we considered each other? Like, wouldn't that be amazing if we normalized that? You know what's sad? Those kind of things don't even seem real. It seems too far-fetched. That's how far away we are from genuine love. Like, that seems terrible. But getting slapped in your household is the normal thing. That's how far away we are with this thing. What do you guys think about that? That's what love's supposed to look like.
I agree with that. I'll say this. Honestly, I really don't see the utility in pointing the finger at women as a man. I think it's a woman's job. They need to get their women together. But I will say that I will quote this behavioral scientist by the name of B.F. Skinner, who said that behavior is controlled by its consequences. And, a lot of times women's behavior go unchecked because men offer them no consequences. We still fool with them. We still show them attention and association, which is a woman's largest currency, right? Which is her most prized currency. Women thrive off of attention and association. And here's what I'm saying. I don't fool with toxic women, bro. Like, I don't care who they are. They could be in my family. They could be my children. They could be my mother. I don't fool with toxic women. They're not part of my reality. In fact, I'm saying, if you get to the point where you are straight liability in my life, I will cut you off. That takes the attention and the association, piece off the table. You can't thrive off of our relationship. Imagine if most men thought like that, right? But most men don't even value themselves enough to remove themselves from situations where women are toxic in their lives. And therefore, that's why I say that we must understand that we deserve what we allow. If toxic women are a part of your life, then you need to ask yourself, why toxic women are part of your life? Why do you allow a woman to be toxic to you? And I agree. We need some healing within the family structure, so that, not only can mothers raise positive girls to be positive women, but we also need to do the work from a man's standpoint that men need to learn to value themselves enough to leave the box alone, no matter how fire it is, right? If that woman is toxic, and I've walked away from good snacks. Oh yeah. All right. It's hard, but you gotta make the conscious decision to say that, oh, this is not worth my peace. But many men are willing to trade peace for peace. Many men will trade peace for a peace, right? And so, come on. I'm saying the onus comes back to us at some point. Like, why are you dealing with these toxic women? What I'm saying is, there's no utility in pointing at a person who's if they're not going to change, then what are your options? You just keep browbeating them, you keep talking about them, or
I agree with the concept, but a man who has had peace never trades that. Men who keep going with those women never knew what peace was to begin with, and that's what we're doing like that.
Sir Hill, what
you got me there? You got me. But that's why we have these conversations, though. Seriously, that's why we have these conversations, because I've had conversations with men. Man, I ain't think about it like that, right? Now, and if you break it down like that, if you say, bro, you're trading your peace for a peace, right? Somebody out there in YouTube land probably will pick this up and say, you know what, you're right. I need to get my peace back because the snatch ain't worth it. Let me get my peace back. And what I'm saying is, you're removing the attention and the association from that woman. And we are in control of who we affiliate with. I don't care who it is. You are in control. You can place people in 3 different categories: full association, limited association, or no association. That is entirely up to us.
Man, what's today's date? December 25th. And then it was 10:15 when he said it. So 10 and 15 together is also the 25th. I just want to say it's over with. We don't need to have any more shows. Manosphere is done. Red Pill's over with. Y'all can thank Sir Hill for this one. I mean, there's nothing else that needs to be said after that. Men who have experienced peace. I'm not even going to try to regurgitate it because I don't want to mess it up. I'm just going to make sure I clip it and have it at the beginning of every show I do for the rest of my life. It's going to be my response anytime any woman has anything to say about how men behave. Well, if he ever knew peace, maybe he wouldn't act that way. Like, at the end of the day, it silences. Like I always tell Sir Charles, when I see the type of person he is, the fact that he's well read, the things that he said about his character, I have to take him at his word that that's who he is. And I got a lot of respect and appreciation for it, for the fact that he exists. He can be a model for what's possible. But at the end of the day, in conversation, we have to talk about things the way that they really are. And a lot of men are not getting this. They're not getting these lessons. They don't know. I don't know why some dudes choose to, pick up a trade and work and marry a woman and get a lazy boy. And some dudes pick up guns and drugs and gangbang. I don't know why people do what they do, but I do know this. When I look at the ones I know that's doing well in life, my guys, my family members that are doing well, they either grew up with their dads or they went to the military. They had mamas that was super Christians, barely cursed, all this type of stuff. They had grandmothers and aunties and stuff on both sides of the family that held them up and made them feel like they was the best thing since sliced bread. And they had fathers and or the military, right? And the ones that I see that's struggling and went to jail a lot and was in abusive situations, whether they were the abuser or vice versa and all this other stuff, they didn't have as much. It's not hard. I just hate that we try to pretend like that ain't what it is. Right? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's just what it is. I don't care because you can point out a couple of dudes you know that made it through. That the exceptions does not dispute the rule.
Now, hold on, Sir Charles. After you, let's get Cam and let's get Kiara and Mr. and Mrs. She said, yeah. If you guys don't notice right now, Sir Charles, podcast, and myself can talk for hours. We're all Baptist preachers at heart. So let's get Sir Charles in here, and then let's get Cam. Let's get everybody else in here as well.
I was raised in the church, so you know it's up in me. But listen, I want to talk about the purpose of having these conversations. Do we have these conversations that just so we can remain or go back to the status quo? Or do we have these conversations so we can actually affect change in someone's life? Listen, I know how effed up it is in certain situations. I know how messed up it is in the hood. Well, first of all, do you listen to Eric Thomas? Any brother podcast? Eric Thomas?
That's the motivational speaker dude, right?
Right. He has a remarkable story about him not having a father and power. I listen. This is what I'm talking about. When I talk these things, I don't say these things just to make a talking point. I say these things just to try to get somebody to think differently. Listen, I know it's messed up, but you know you can change it, right? But by changing your perception and what you continuously feed your mind. If you continuously feed your mind the problem and not the solution, your life will always be problematic. Everybody knows the problem is there, but if you're not looking to address the problem or looking to change, and that's my whole purpose of saying this, because I want somebody to say, damn, bro, I ain't think about it like that. I probably can change my perspective and change what's going on in my life. I've done it in real life. I have quantifiable evidence of men who came back to me and said, bro, you helped me. I never thought I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think that I could control my reality. I just thought I had to settle for what was and just push through. Oh no, it all starts with what you continuously feed your brain. And that's all I'm saying. Look, we can't focus so much on the problem and not give the solution some attention as well. And for me, the solution has been what you continuously feed your subconscious mind will become your objective reality. And I'll break it down. What you continuously pay attention to will become your life. That's it. So if you pay attention to problems, your life is problematic. That's it. Simple as that.
True indeed. Cam, you got something?
I mean, I don't think I could have said that any more beautifully, honestly. When we talk about, you know what I'm saying, advocating for men, especially on this panel, you know, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I kind of feel indifferent. Because I feel like a man is supposed to be a man at the end of the day. Like we pat ourselves on the back. You feel me? Anything that we go through, you know what I'm saying, as a man, you're supposed to do that chin up, 10 toes down every single time. It doesn't matter whether you have support, whether you don't. As a man, you're supposed to go through that. You're supposed to go through that hurricane and you come out on top. I'm not looking for nobody to pacify me, to shift blame and tell people why I was in this situation and why I had no help. I feel like that's things that men who want to create a narrative of blame shifting do that. So I feel like when you are a man of means and you are a man of options, whether that's financially, physically, whatever, I feel like you don't make excuses. You're not telling people why you couldn't do what you did. You just getting it done. So like with this clip that he showed, I feel like that level of love, especially from a man and a woman's point of view, that level of love is earned. It's not just given. You know what I'm saying? That is love over time. That's not something that they just automatically gave to each other, right? You don't just make a
homemade plate for somebody that you just met unless you just from the South like that. But I just feel like, we as men, I think that society has done such a great job in demasculating us and telling us, hey, we need to be more emotional. We need to talk about our problems. And yes, some of us do. But the short percentage of us that know how to deal with our problems and know how to push through and just say, hey, I'm gonna be a man about it because I know that pain is not forever. The trial that I'm going through it doesn't last forever. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna learn from this. And I feel like that's what we need to do as men as well. Stop looking at things from a broken lens. Your glass is not half empty, it's half full. Everything that you go through, you should always be looking at every positive in every negative situation. There's always one positive. You know what I'm saying? Whether you are going through a divorce, whether you are in a bad financial situation, just like you got the money, you can get it back. You know what I'm saying? Like people that lose their job and they feel like, oh man, I'll never find another job like this. And it's like, dog, just how you learn the skill, you can learn another skill. It's not impossible, but people get so comfortable with being comfortable that they're not willing to step outside of that box and they're not willing to be the man that they're supposed to be because they're scared of failure. And failure comes with life. Failure is your lesson. That shows you what are you made of. So I feel like society has done a great job of just telling men like, hey, instead of facing your problems head on, see who you can ship that to. See why you can't blame your mom for you not being the man that you want to be. Blame your wife for not being the man that you're supposed to be. Blame your girlfriend for not being the man that you're supposed to be. At the end of the day, brother, you are a man. Shut up, get what you need to get done, and go about your business.
I do want to ask you a question, brother Cam. And I'm not being facetious. Let's say I'm struggling, having a hard time making ends meet. And I know Charles got the bag. I go to Charles' crib, I tie him up. Hey, let me get everything, the jewels, the money, whatever you got that I can get paid with. And I take that and I go get rid of it and I put that money together and I build something. Let's say I buy some property and you look up a few years and I got a few properties and I'm doing my thing. Was that me being a man?
No, that's you being weak. That's you not wanting to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's you operating out of a weak position.
Okay. If I go and I get a job, I'm struggling. I go and get a job and I work for one of these, companies that have been around for 100 years, 200 years. And I work, stack my money and invest and make something of myself. Was that me being a man?
Most definitely.
You do know a lot of these companies, but you do know a lot of these companies that exist, and even the way this country was founded the exact way of the first example. They took stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, are you gonna at every fork in the road, are you gonna meet violence with violence?
No, but
at what point do you take self accountability and say, hey, I don't care what road I have to go on, whether that's me working at McDonald's and me sleeping in my car or me taking a shower at Planet Fitness for 10, 12 weeks at a time. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. At some point, you have to learn how to be uncomfortable, right? You have to learn how to manage being a man and being on your own and understanding that at the end of the day, nobody is going to come to your rescue. It is up to you to change your outcome. And I just said this on our last week's episode. You are the author of your story, right? You are the author of your story. How do you want that story to end? When people read your biography or when people look at your life, when you are dead in that casket, what do you want people to say about you? Do you want people to say that, man, Every time I looked around, man, he always asking me for something. Or do you want these people to say, hey, man, I didn't know him that well, but I know Cam grind. I know he got after it. I know he was never really comfortable. I know he wanted to do better things in his life. So it's like, if you know, and not just speaking to every man, if you know that you want to be in a better position, the first initial thing is changing your mindset. Mind over matter every single time. You change your mindset, you could change your situation.
And I don't necessarily
let's get a rebuttal here, and then I'm going to read the super chats after this.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I think it's more context and caveats to it than that. But again, what happens for a lot of men, right? What happens is this. So I see certain men, such as yourself, when you have a certain mindset and it worked, then you think if everybody do that, it'll work for them. It does not work like that, right?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, well, okay. So then I'm wrong. I take it. I'm wrong. I'm misquoting you. But what I am saying is this. This is what it sounds like, and this is exactly what a lot of people are saying, right? I did this, and if you think the same way, because the way, let me ask you this: the way that you're saying men should think, is that not the way that you think?
That's not necessarily the way that I think. I think that every man should go through the process of being uncomfortable. What I'm saying is,
that's something that you believe, right?
Most definitely.
Right.
You
So
should never, as a man, you should never seek comfort.
So that's all I'm saying.
All.
So that's all I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. More often than not, right? The things that we, and I'm not being rude when I say this, I mean myself too. The things that we preach, right? It's things that we believe. If I say, yo, man, I think you should invest in this Bitcoin, I'm not going to say that, you know what I'm saying, if I don't believe that Bitcoin is worth the investment. I'm going to say that because that's what I believe, right? So that's what we do a lot, right? We say, man, look, I did this and it worked for me. You should do the same thing. But what I have come to learn is that that's just not the case for everybody. Somebody could literally, you could write down exactly everything you did, and somebody could try to follow it every single step of the way, and it just does not work out the same for them. There is no equal outcome, right?
That part was not for them.
Right. I understand it. I understand it. But what I'm saying is this.
I guess we're going to wrap this part up.
What I had to learn was this. Somebody might have to do something that I don't necessarily think they should, or I don't necessarily wouldn't do myself, right? Somebody might have to do something that I think is egregious or I think is foul. They might have to do that to get where they trying to get to. And either I could spend my time judging them for doing that, or I could just be understanding and be like, man, you know what? I wouldn't do that. And I wish you didn't have to, but I hope, you know what I'm saying, whatever you do when you get on the other side of it, I hope you make some of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I've learned coming from where I'm coming from and going through what I'm going through and watching the people around me. I mean, I've seen people try, bro. I've seen people try to be Sir Hill and it didn't work out. I've seen people try to be Dr. Dre and it didn't work out. I've seen people try to be, what's that main, Kiera, what's that main construction company? They name on everything around Chicago. Is it
Walsh?
Walsh. I've seen
it's Walt's.
I've seen people try to do that. Hey, it ain't work out for them. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Sometimes people have to do things that we don't necessarily think they should, or we don't think it's manly, or whatever the case is, bro. And the people, not you, but the people who spend the most time telling us what we shouldn't do and creating these laws and these punishments for us when we do certain things are the same people who do those very things, but they'll call it something else.
So let me jump in here. So the root of all this is not necessarily a belief. I think typically in conversations like this, it can become philosophical, right? And I can say, podcast, you just shared your belief. Cam shared his belief. There's certain things that are just observable, and it's what we call axiomatic. So every child that has to walk has to start by crawling, and they have to risk falling and busting their lips and hitting their head to walk. It's a mindset thing. And I think that no matter what you're going to be, what route you take in this life, it all is a reflection of what you think about yourself, what you think about life, and ultimately what you spend your mind thinking about. So regardless of the direction and the routes we take, I do believe that mindset plays a critical part, if not the most important part, in what we become.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't necessarily disagree with what he was saying. I don't blanket it when I think about manhood specifically. Not that I'm disagreeing with you. Again, I don't blanket it because that's what we do. We say this is what a man is, and this is how every man is supposed to think, and how every man is supposed to move. And if you don't move that way, you ain't a real man. And a lot of these men that we tell them they ain't real men would beat our asses. And I think we should probably consider
But
that.
then what you just did though is you just pontificated a belief that masculinity is about whipping somebody's behind. Right?
No,
That's your belief.
I'm not saying that I think that's masculinity. I'm saying them guys would.
But I'm saying it could be perceived.
Real men.
I'm just using your argument with you to say that like we all have these beliefs about stuff. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I do. I do believe that though. I like especially if it's. Now I ain't saying like he's 6'5" and other dude is 5'6". I ain't saying that. But I'm saying we both 5'8", and you telling me I ain't no real man.
Right.
And I take everything you got on you and go home and sleep comfortably. And you put ice on your eyes.
Now let's be real. None of us have walked around and said, "Bro, you ain't no real man. I am a real man. I swear on everything I love, I'm real." None of us have ever done that before. So
that's a YouTube thing.
Right. All right, guys. Any final thoughts? And then we're gonna move on to the meat of the show. 2 questions, and I think we're gonna roll out. Are you guys enjoying the show? Chat, are y'all enjoying the show? If you are, hit that like button and be sure to share. Any final thoughts on this?
Oh, hey, Cam, look. See my beard? See your beard? I could use all the shea butter in the world. I could put all the juju juice, all the S curl.
Podcast.
I can do whatever it is you say you do to your beard. I'm not gonna get the same result. You know
and you know why you can't grow a podcast? Because you don't believe. Anybody have any final thoughts on this subject?
Sergio.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is don't listen to the podcast with the beard thing. But other than that, I unfortunately have to leave. I enjoyed the show tonight. It was a lot of great topics, a lot of great viewpoints. And other than that, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Hey, thanks so much, Kiki. Merry Christmas to you. Thanks so much for being here. Really good to see you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, any final thoughts before we move into the main subject for tonight?
Yeah. I got a question for Beans, but I don't want him to go on another lecture. I just really would like to know what would you say to a brother that is down on his luck, who may be getting rope doped by life. He getting his ass handed to him. Do you tell him, well, that's just it for you, brother? I'm sorry. That's just life. Or what do you say to that brother?
Hey, 2 minutes for this topic, and then we're moving on, guys.
And maybe that was a rhetorical question because I just wanted to jump in really quickly. Is the thing I think when we talk about a real man, we talk about value, right? Levels of value, and we must know that all men are created equally, but we all don't develop equally. And when I say these things, I am not talking about anything external. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about looks. I'm not talking about height. I'm not talking about build. I am talking about values. And a lot of times we confuse a high value man. Well, we don't understand that a high value man is essentially a high values man. And typically a high values man is not an excuse maker. He's a solution seeker. He's not a liability so much. He's more so of an asset. I was just telling my nephews, I think I talked about this I was having a conversation with my nephews, and I was telling him that it's a fact that people can be a liability or asset. You can't straddle the line. You're either adding to people around you or you're taking away. I would dare to say that a real man seeks ways to add to the spaces that he occupies. And so when we talk about, these are all values. You don't necessarily need money for that. You don't need you need a mindset. And so it's not that everybody has to have the same, hey, everybody jump on YouTube. No. We all have some skill somewhere. And even if you just work a job, right? And you work that job, there's a scripture that I love to say that in all that you do it as unto the Lord, right? That when I tell you, and because that was drilled into my head by my father since I was a shorty. Now I had the cheat code. All right. Hey, sometimes luck plays a part in success. Hey, I had the cheat code. But my father, but I know men who grew up without their fathers, and because they learn how to be men by their peers or other grown men. When you keep an open mind and you say, listen, I need direction. I like where you're going with that. And I want to follow you, or teach me what you know. When I was working at McDonald's, I promise you, I'm keeping it short. When I was working at McDonald's, I was really washing dishes, like really washing them, like I was eating off of them. While I watched other men just spray them and throw them on other boys, spray them and throw them on the rack. Excellence is a lifestyle. It's what everything that you do. Are you doing it as unto the Lord? Are you doing it as if God is grading you on it? And that's a lifestyle. That's something that you can control. And you'd be surprised just by doing that everywhere you go. And no matter what, I say, everything you do it like you're getting paid $1 million. Watch how your life grows. Watch how people will find opportunities for you. You don't even have to be in a room. People be like, man, Beans, hey, I know an opportunity for Beans. Let me holler at them. Just because they know your character. You ain't even got to do all the work. It's because you put the energy out there. And so that's all I'm saying. The solution for I'm just saying solutions is don't be excuse minded. Solutions based. How can I add value? That's how you become a high values man. That's my piece.
You know, but I got to agree with that, Sir Charles. When I moved into the 6-figure life, there were people I passed who had master's degrees. One even had like a doctorate degree, and I just had a GED. You know what I mean? Moving into 6 figures. But what was the difference? Is your work ethic. When you stamp everything you do with a bar that exceeds what people set for you, and you put your all into it, it does that. You get rewarded for that. I can't explain exactly how it all works, but the way that life works, you get what you put out there. Now, of course, we can't say that for every situation, you know, but in America, if you're blessed to live in a country like this, what you give out, you get that back. So I appreciate what you just said. Okay, guys, let's move into the meat of the show tonight. We know why we're here. Our brother Tory Lanez was convicted of all 3 crimes. So this particular case took place, I want to say, in 2020. So the dispute happened in July 12, 2020, and the charges that were against him were assault with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of a concealed unregistered firearm, and negligent discharge of the firearm. So he was accused of this, and as a result, he was found guilty by a jury. So before I get into any of these, you know, any specific questions, I just want to get your general thoughts about the case overall. So let's start with Sir Charles, and then let's work our way around it. What were just your thoughts overall on the case?
I am guilty of not necessarily following celebrity news so much, but I did dive into it a little bit, and I realized that Meg Thee Stallion lied a lot. That's what I'm hearing. You know, a lot of times you can't believe what you hear and read on social media and the news or what have you. But I guess she lied a lot, and initially she said she was trying to protect him, but her story changed quite a few times. And you know, I didn't see any video from the court proceedings or anything like that. Did they put anything out there? You know, for transparency? Was there? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I mean, he was found guilty. I hope he can appeal and maybe turn that around. But essentially, why was that brother in that situation in the first place? Now I know we all have taken a gamble doing something with women or whatever, doing something when we're not probably wasn't the brightest idea. But this guy, brother, he told me earlier that he was caught with an unregistered pistol. Now you are a popular artist, a musical artist. Why are you riding around with a loaded unregistered pistol? Why are you in a situation where the firearms had to come into play? He should have had security. I mean, there were so many things right here where I think he misjudged. He made a bad judgment or a bad choice to where, he messed up. Conviction, though, I mean, I would have to see the court proceedings. I don't really know much about it to see where they convicted him on, but apparently they got enough jurors to say that it was he was found guilty. He was he made a bad choice.
Mr. He said, Mr. She said. What's your thoughts on this? What's your just general thoughts on the whole ordeal?
Yeah, the missus isn't really too privy on stuff like this, but I just thought it was very unfortunate on all counts. Just because of the nature of the situation and the echelon of people that were involved. It's always going to be he said, she said. It's always going to be lovers' quarrels. But when you get to the platform that these people have, and to make the decisions that they make, and for it to make it to us, I just think that it's a display of immaturity, and I think it just perpetuates the culture in the way that they want the children, and what they want the children to aspire to in regards to career, in regards to decision making, and how they handle decisions.
Let's have a question, guys. Who's masculine energy? Does anybody know who this is? No. Your masculine. I'm not sure who this is. I'll wait another hour and a half before All right. Anybody else want to respond to this? I can. What's just your general? Miss Tisha, do you have something on this? Okay, Cam. What's your general thoughts on this whole thing?
Mute it.
Oh, my bad. My general thoughts are, honestly, he should have never been in that situation to begin with. I definitely feel like when you get to a certain level of fame, the things that you used to do or are used to doing, you no longer have to do anymore. So why surround yourself with that type of energy? I think that as a adult, I don't understand how you justify carrying around a firearm that isn't registered and using it with the status that you have. I just think that is it's just a level of ignorance that puts you in a position to be punished, and now you're in a position where you're gonna have to basically chin up, 10 toes down, and do what you need to do.
Excellent. Mr. Beans, what's your perspective on this whole ordeal?
Yeah, I don't know nothing about the case. I heard things. I've been around conversations, and I promise you, I just tuned them out. I don't believe nothing that's said in the media as far as stories go. Same thing I said about Twitch. I don't believe he did that to himself. I don't believe any of this stuff that I hear. And so to me, of course, I don't believe he shot this girl. I just think people don't believe, like, honestly, being on YouTube has really made me understand the phrase ignorance is bliss. It's better to be naive. It's better to be a child, to not know, bro, because coming to YouTube, these are some of, while they may be successful, these are some of the dumbest black men I have ever met in my life on YouTube. Seriously. The way that they think about stuff, they act like there's no conspiracies in the world. None. Right? And when we say that this is being used, right, as just another tool to turn black women and black men against each other, like, you so smart, but you don't understand that this is a real tool of war, right? To turn your enemies against each other. So you had them fighting each other, they're not really paying no attention to you. And then at the same time, you can be funding both sides of the war, right? So that's all this is. Nobody that I know, except for black women, believes that Tory, well, nobody I know personally, because I ain't even talked to nobody about it. But as far as on social media, YouTube stuff I've seen, nobody except for black women believes that he actually shot this woman. Right. And we were just having a conversation the other day where I was like, man, are they going to convict them? I don't know, but I feel like they would, just off the strength of it's going to really push the narrative of the gender war and black men versus black women. Because I have no, like at this point, I have no more sympathy for black women in general. If I see a dude whooping you, I don't got nothing to say. I'm not getting involved. I'm not calling the police. I'm not doing nothing. And I don't care if somebody say, oh, you got a daughter. Well, I'm gonna tell them what Cam just said. She shouldn't have been in that situation. Right? That's what I'm supposed to say to my daughter, right? That's what we're gonna say to these men, is that they shouldn't have been in that situation, right? So it is my daughter calling me, Dad, I just got stomped out. You shouldn't have been in that situation. Right? That's the point. That's the stance I'm supposed to take, right? So I'm gonna make it universal then. I could care less, bro. I'm telling y'all, I just did this a few months ago with them the two young kids. I call them kids. I don't know how they was. They wasn't no older than 23, 24. Was fighting in the gas station. Now, man, look, man, y'all cut this out. And that young boy said, man, your business. I was like, you know what? I sure am.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But I seen them two fighting. I felt some kind of way just as a black person. I've been in this situation.
Yes, sir.
I got domestic violences in my background. Like, my domestic violences are misdemeanors, and they have hindered me more than the felonies. They've done worse to me trying to move forward and better myself than the felonies did, right? Because they are quote unquote violent offenses.
Podcast, let me pull in something you said with this, because that's kind of where the directions that I want to take the conversation in, is with what we've seen between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. It's a whole completely unfortunate situation. What this has done, because as soon as I saw this, the outlets for Protect Black Women, and what I see is a greater divide between black men and black women. At this point, anything that happens between a man and a woman at any regard, we're not looking at it objectively. We're going to put this into the box where black women need to be protected, or black men or something. And it's almost like our efforts to build bridges together, one thing happens and we don't need to have full context, just the aesthetics of it, the way it looks, we go off of that, and the divide becomes even greater. Do you guys see that? And what's your thoughts about that?
100% see that. Somebody else go. I don't want it to be the podcast.
I feel like it's easier to take things. I mean, now on social media, it's easier to take things when you first get it than to actually get all the details, right? You can see. I mean, you can see it when we talk about, or when we see like a white police officer kills a black man. You don't even have to hear the story. You just automatically upset. You don't have to hear the details. You don't have to know nothing about nothing. You just automatically upset. Right? And I feel like it's the same thing when it comes to black men and black women. We don't have to read the story. We don't have to hear about it. We just automatically go to, oh, well, this person was wrong, or she was wrong, or she shouldn't have been in that situation, or he shouldn't have been in that situation. It's just always easier for us to go off of everything that we read or whatever's getting fed to us than actually getting to the root of the problem.
Yeah, we never do. We hear.
I definitely hear that. I just think the court of popular opinion trumps reality, especially in 2022. What it looks like, what it appears to be, what we can go on a tangent about and make it is way more important than what it actually is. And when it comes to men and women, I think it's really no different. And it's because of that, I think that this particular case is, you know, nothing different. I think it was first hinted at with Amber Heard, but now it's just punched through. And again, you know, I think TV presents a narrative that they like to push, and the narrative in this particular fashion is believe all women, just like protect all women. Goodness gracious, they get a lot of consideration. We got to protect them all. We got to believe them all. But we even got to believe them when there's no proof. I was asking you guys earlier, I heard there was no residue on his hands, no gunshot residue on his hands. But, you know, somebody got to be the bad guy in the story. And I say that that's our role in America, but it's particularly the black man's role in the system. And like Nas said, it's evidently they want us all gone eventually. All of us, from Bill Cosby to Michael Jackson to me and you, from our little 9-to-5 paycheck. If they could get us all, they will. Now, some of us are a little more sophisticated and know not to even put ourselves in that position. You did your job if you get me, because I'm going to work. I'm going back home and I'm going back to work in the morning. And not because I'm scared, not because I don't know what the world is, because I still go out and I have my fun, but everything is very focused, concentrated. I'm going to the spot. I'm going to my car and I'm going back home, because any deviation gives them the opportunity to put me at their mercy. And again, for these men and these women to make the money that they make, to know the narrative that we have, to know what we up against in this country, to still behave the way they behave at 4 a.m. with an unregistered ride, yelling and screaming in somebody's neighborhood, popping off. Ooh, you think nobody's gonna see that? Everybody got a phone, everything got a camera on it. You got people just going outside for a cigarette on their terrace at 4 a.m. You're waking some people up. It's just you move with like there's no consequences. But yet when you get in that booth and that instrumental come on, you know everything. You go through how sophisticated you are and how everything has to be foreign. But again, you don't know you got to have a damn registration for the car. It's a damn $200,000 Bentley, and you don't know that the shit need to be insured. No, I'm not buying it. And this is why I just, you know, rap is a setup, a lot of game, a lot of suckers with colorful names. I used to wanted to be in music, but I seen where it was going. And that's the beauty of being a visionary, that you get to see where shit is going, but you got to see it by yourself. And when I told my friends I don't want to do this shit no more, they was like, yo, what? Like, we right there. We are about to, and I'm like, yeah, I got daughters, I got a wife. I do not want to be telling them don't live like this. And I'm on the TV and I'm living like this. And I'm just, you know, going through the rap emotions, going through the entertain emotions. And this is just what America is. So in order to, again, not put myself at the mercy of this, let's just alleviate this. Let's get a 9-to-5. Let's go back to school. Let's do like Sir Hill. Let's live in our car. But like you say, we do what we have to do to get to where we want. And if we don't do that, it's because you weren't worth it. We really didn't want to do it. And again, it sounds really harsh when I say some of the things, but when we don't want to, you know, follow the negative traits, we don't want to follow the negative patterns, we don't. When we find something that we feel we are rewarded, that we appreciate, we will not deviate. But if we do, and you want to ask us why we keep living the life, why we still going to the club, why we still going out, is because you ain't worth me stopping. Now, whether you want to accept that or not, that's on you, but it is what it is. Thank you for having me, Sir Hale.
Whew. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anybody want to respond?
When you listen to what he just said, basically, like, I got lost after a certain point, because it was like he hit something on the head that, to me, that just rings more true than anything else. And that's the fact that they, for money's sake, they turn everything into a crime. Every human reaction is considered a crime. How is it a crime to be a human? Like,
well, just in fairness to this particular subject, like this topic here, it is a crime. So, but you're just speaking in general.
Because I'm trying to figure out, if it's a crime, how is George Zimmerman free? If it's a crime to shoot people, right? That's what I'm saying. We only do these deep dives into criminality when we're talking about black people, right? Any and everything, it's a crime. Nigga sneeze too hard, it's a crime, right? But you got all
Some
these
get on me, it is. It's a problem too.
but you got all these other people that do the same thing, and when they do it, it's stand your ground. I can't find this meme. I'm pretty sure they probably wiped it off the internet. Somebody had created this meme. I've been looking for a couple of years now. They basically had all these things on one side that's considered crime, like larceny and robbery and all these different things. They had like 20 things that's considered a crime. And then they had like 20 things that's the exact same thing, but when the government do it, it's called something else. Right? When the powers that be do it, when businesses do it, it's called something else. Like me and you could go sit outside, and not so much now, but there was a time when me and you could go sit outside on the corner of Chicago and be shooting dice with each other. We going to jail. But this other cat could build a whole casino. You see what I'm saying? That's how unfair the game is, right? All they did with this particular situation is prove that when you black, you not gonna win. And it don't matter how many people you want to pick out and say, well, what about such and such he did? And what about such and such he did it? So what? I don't care because you can name me 5 when I can name you 30. For every 5 you name, we got 30 more that lost. So
we just do a great
before you go, Cam, let me do this real quick. To masculine energy. Now, I didn't want to do this because I'm really working on refining the fool in me to be more of a positive role model to the children watching me. But with these incessant comments, I'm forced to let a little bit of the foolery out on Christmas Day. Now, masculine energy, we already know that this is not a channel of a man. I can tell you why. Because no man is going to have a picture of Tyrese on here from the album that was sold years ago. So, lady, I don't know who you are, but go find something else to do. Moderator, if we have somebody in here who's doing this, just time them out. This is a lady of some sort, because ain't no dude calling himself masculine energy with a photo of Mr. Sweet Lady. All right, guys, let's get back to the topic. It's on you, Cam.
No, I was just saying, I think that the system does just a great job of making a great example out of us. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, bro, listen, in real whole life, let's just be honest, right? Tory Lanez, I think they said that boy 5'3", 5'4". Meg Thee Stallion like 6'9". Bro, come on, man.
Allegedly.
Come on, man. Allegedly. Come on. Like at the end of the day, I get it. To me, it's not even about them. You can replace them with anybody else and it'll be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, Cam. You and I are different. We would definitely have a great show if we did a show together, because I got rebuttals for everything you say, right? Because when you say things like you shouldn't have been in that situation, that to me, that's like, nah, there's no such thing as you shouldn't have been in that situation, bro. We human. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make human decisions in this moment. Let me tell you something. I got 4 domestic violences in my background, right? So in one of them, I never touched nobody.
Well, on podcast, but before you go on, this context though. So you're famous, you're well known, you've got money, you've got an unregistered firearm that is loaded in a car with 2 women who are hyper emotional.
Right.
Like the context changes, it makes it a little bit different. So I agree that he shouldn't have been there, but it's a whole lot that shouldn't have happened. First of all, you got to avoid these hyper emotional situations, and then you can't have that kind of weapon there. That it's like there are some things that are preventable.
Okay, but right now you're saying contact. So let me give you some context why you saying he shouldn't have had that weapon. PNB Rock. So we could say what we want to. Oh, well, it should have been through legal procedures and all of that, bruh.
No, I don't sound like that podcast.
Okay.
So I don't sound that way.
Let me jump in real quick, podcast.
You silly.
Let me jump in.
Look, hold on real quick. I don't believe he had a gun. I don't believe it was his. None of that. However, if he did, PNB Rock, protect yourself, dog. Straight up. I'm not even finna be mad at you. And because you are who you are, and you got what you got, and you want to be able to move with what you got, and don't want to have to not worry what you own because somebody might be jealous of it, man, do what you do. Go ahead. He said.
No, that was a good point. The only thing I would say is that the perfect storm of the night is really what would make me lean toward just 4 a.m, intoxicated, firearm in the profession that they're in. Like, think about how their music make you feel when you leave the club. So imagine how their music makes them feel when they leave the club. So for me, it's just the perfect storm of that entertainment life. And like I said, they just really think a lot of themselves, that they can behave. He's from Canada and he's here in the States at 4 a.m, behaving how he feel like it. And I think it's a little disrespectful.
Meanwhile, the story coming through the hood is the chicks was the one getting into it with each other, right? And they was the one who actually, the girl was the one who probably actually popped Meg, right? But they put it on Tory because they don't care about him because he's 5'3". Nigga, we got a Drake, we got a Canadian rapper. We don't need another one. Right? Like, it's all kind of conspiracy theories that can be on this. At some point, this is what I'm saying. None of us was there, right? So whatever information you making your decision on right now, you're choosing to believe that source. You're choosing to believe the source that you heard what you heard and what you making your informed opinion on right now, right? So I don't believe none of it. But at the end of the day, yep, I got on $250,000 chains and all of that, which I earned. I didn't steal it. I didn't tie nobody up to get it. I earned it and I want to wear it. Yeah, I think I should be able to carry a gun. Yep, sure can. Yep, I don't have no problem with that. And guess what? I was a broke hood gangbanging nigga in the hood wearing my brother's Jordans to the clubs, and I was leaving at 4 a.m. And I had cars, no license, no insurance, no registration, no nothing, and I had guns. What I'm saying is we act like money changes people. It don't. It usually makes them more of who they really are. It's not going to change the situation, bro.
I hear you. But at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, I was broke working a 9 to 5, but I still go to the club with a car and some money to buy a lady a drink and a credit card to get a hotel just in case a lady chooses me. Because I know that success is opportunity and being able to take advantage of it. Right. And if me, a grown man, know that if I can't get a room when the girl say, you know what, let's get out of here and go somewhere with a mini bar, that ain't my mama house. So I have to have a certain mind frame to even be this, this person that we talk about.
That's true, bro. But look, if you was going to the club in a box Chevy on foes, right?
At least sixes,
with a dumb chain on your neck, right?
At least six.
Okay, sixes. That make it even worse, right? You probably would have had the thumper, and it probably wouldn't have been legal or registered, bro. I know people right now. Man, I don't really want to give too much information, but I'm gonna say this. I have a family member that is uber successful relative to everybody else in the family, right? That nigga's a felon and he still carries guns. He has a lot. And like he said, man, look, I ain't finna be out here empty-handed because these people done told me I don't have a right to protect myself. It is what it is. I did the crime, I paid the time, and then they want to keep on punishing me by telling me I don't have a right to protect myself or my family. You got life messed up. So I'm going to take the little precautions that I can, but I have a lot. I have a lot going on. 2023 vehicles. You know what I'm saying? 2023 jewelries and clothes. When I step out, people know I'm getting to it. And they need to know I ain't the one to be running up on either. So all I'm saying is we can make all the statements.
I got to get in here real quick.
We can make all the statements about Tory. We shouldn't even be talking about Tory. That's the whole point. Our conversation should be on the fallacy of protecting women when these women put him in this situation.
Hold on. I want to touch back on Riches because I buy pretty expensive tie clips and ties, and I want to get to these super chats so that I can hire my security team. A shout out to Take Heed to the message with the $5 super chat. She says, "How can a man protect a woman that doesn't respect him?" And I was looking to booking a fight and put him in danger. King Adam says, "Honesty these days is called bashing. Bros have to stick together and not let the convo get shut down, no matter who says we are whining or crying about the convo." Felicia Hoskin comes in here with a $20 super chat. She says, "I think the media consistently creates a destructive narrative that keeps our people divided. We should actively look for solutions to heal our communities brick by brick. By the way, happy holidays." Felicia follows this up with another $9.99 super chat, and she says, "It was reported Tory's DNA wasn't on the gun. If that's true, how could it be proven he shot her? Isn't that reasonable doubt?" And then IXL comes in just to show love with the $20 super chat. Guys, see, this is the riches we're talking about. I've got to hire me a staff now to keep me protected from all these super chats. Thank you so much, everybody. Let me play the super chat song really quickly, and we'll be back to address these questions right after this.
Pick it up, super chat. Pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex on. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shit, my bros raw. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex on. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shit, my bros raw.
Sorry about that, guys. Let me get professional again. Thank you so much, guys, for the super chat love. Appreciate you. So, guys, final question of the night. Situations like this seem to be pulling Black men and Black women apart. How do we use situations like this to pull together, if that's at all possible? We'll end with that question tonight. What you guys thought on that?
I'm gonna go because I need to take a break real quick. I don't know.
I thought you froze. He said I gotta go. Pause for 2 seconds.
No, it's like, I be thinking all this stuff is working, man, because honestly, still to this day, I can say, even after all these years now, 2-3 years of watching YouTube content and producing it, in my real day-to-day life, I don't see anybody having these conversations. Nobody is talking about no gender war. Nobody is talking about all this other stuff. They definitely not talking about women being delusional or, terrorists or any of this other stuff. Like, nobody ain't having these conversations. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even just what we was just doing, we talked about, he shouldn't have did. As long as that remains to be the conversation, man, we're not gonna never be able to fix this. No, as a matter of fact, I don't think we can anyway. I think it's one of them situations like we trying to create a Zion, right? If you ever seen the movie The Matrix, right? We're just trying to get a Zion. We're trying to get maybe a Zion for every major, city across the country, Chicago, New York, and somewhere in Florida, somewhere in LA, somewhere in Texas, all these different places that have a Zion where you have a more healthier, functional, loving, nurturing, discipline, all those good things we're supposed to have. That type of community of Black people where they have Black schools, Black hospitals, Black banks, Black everything, and kind of like filter out the quote unquote riffraff, because that's as good as it's gonna get. We can't even stop Black women from wearing weave. Like, people think that this is an overstatement. Oh, y'all always talking about hair. Like, you don't get it. It is the simplest ask. It's way more simple than me asking you to address your behavior. It's way more simple than me asking you to address your mindset, to address your vocabulary or the way you speak to me. It's way more simpler to say, stop wearing weave, right? En masse, don't wear weave, don't buy it, don't shop with it, don't put it in your hair, don't put it in our kids' hair. Just stop that. Be completely natural. Do it for 365 days.
I mean, but some of our women need weave, man. You don't want nobody walking around looking like me.
I do. you silly, but I do. You know why? Because the ones who would, if they didn't have the weave, would walk around looking like you. They need to. They need to walk around and look exactly how they really look.
I'm gonna remove podcasts because if I see some women around here with beards walking around here in public like this, I'm going to report you to the authorities immediately.
You know I'm not talking about beards though. I'm just saying, like, because at the end of the day, the problem is that you put the weave in your hair, you put the lash. I'm sorry, the lashes is probably more important than the weave. You put the lashes on your face, you put the long nails, you put all this stuff on, right? And then
you
looking at it.
just know how to be
Wait, hold on. You're looking at it. You're looking at the hair. You're looking at the lashes. You're looking at the nails. You're looking at the dress, and you think that makes you something more than what you really are.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
They're becoming what they're putting on. They're not their authentic selves because of that.
Right. You think that is qualifying you for something that you don't deserve. You see what I'm saying? Because you can put this on. It doesn't matter. Right? When the men are saying, if I want that look, I can literally go get it naturally. Right? And not only that, when I go get it naturally, it's going to come with a lot less mouth. Right? So instead of saying, oh, y'all want to go overseas, we're going to go overseas too. Why not just say, all right, let's try it that way. We can't even get them to just do that. This is big, bro. Because right now, I'm acting the way I'm acting. Bro, if you come to me right now, I seen this necklace 50 had on at the game the other day. Oh my God, bro. Put that 50 necklace on me. Put some of them Tory Lanez jewels on my hands and my wrists. Let me go outside and be able to hop into a Bentley. I'm gonna be brand new. Don't ask me what time it is. Don't ask me how I'm doing, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Got $1 million watch. Can't nobody ask you what time it is.
Period. Exactly. I'm gonna be brand new too. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have an attitude about life too. Who is you to think that you can even speak to me? You ain't on my level. All that extra arrogance that the women take on, and this is what I'm saying. We can't even ask that. So how are we really gonna combat a quote unquote gender war that's being funded by the powers that be, the very people we're trying to still to this day integrate with, the very people whose money we're trying to attain, right? Are the very ones funding the so-called quote unquote gender war. You on YouTube and you black, you can't talk about nothing else. You better be talking about this or video games, right? You get to talking about any black pride, any of that type of stuff, canceled, demonetized, right? Rizza Islam, they getting you out of here, right? Stuff like that, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, Sir Hill. That's probably the question of the year. But honestly, I've already accepted the fact that there is no win. There's no coming back. Nothing ever goes back. Everything only moves forward. So we're not ever going to go back. We're not going to ever be able to fix this. The best we can do is try to create Zions, right? In the middle of the chaos. If we can create a couple pockets of Zions in a few major cities and save a few souls, I think that's the best we could do. I'm gonna go.
So Zion consists of wigless women with no beards. I agree with you, man. Cam, what's your perspective on this as well? How can we take these situations that rip us apart and find a way to come together, if at all possible?
I think first and foremost, it has to come from within our own households. I think largely, not even trying to be funny, but Black people are the worst when it comes to shitting on each other. Excuse my language. we get a little bit of money and a little bit of power, and the first thing that we do, or the first thing that we want to do, is basically show people that they are inadequate to us. And to me, I think that the first order of business is obviously to not point the finger, and understand that everybody comes from, every walk of life. But I think also too that if black women weren't, and I might get some slack for this, but it's just been my experience. When a black woman has to step, or any woman, period, when a woman has to step out of her femininity and provide for a household that a man can't do, she no longer is looking at you as a man. And I know that's hard for some men to hear, but when you are not doing your duty and giving her those 3 or the 4 P's, and she has to go out and do those things, you've now opened the door to a different realm of a masculine woman, because you're not giving her everything that she needs, right? And a lot of us out here, a lot of black men out here, we couch hopping.
Damn.
We couch hopping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we want to say everything that the black woman isn't doing for us or isn't advocating for us, but she has to go out and she has to work and she has to come home, take care of the kids, and you've been sitting on the game all day smoking weed. How is she supposed to take you seriously when all you're doing is giving her another thing to clean up or another kid to take care of, right? So I think the conversation has to be more along the lines of how can we make each other's lives easier? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, not just me going to work, but as a man, me coming home and seeing that maybe you had a stressful day at work, you not having to cook, or me doing the dishes, or, you know what I'm saying, little things, me washing the kids up, whatever it is, right? A lot of us as men, we try to say that we do the title of being a man, giving you the protection, provision, but all we do is, you know what I'm saying, we work and we come home and we don't do shit else. We're not cleaning up. We're not doing our laundry. We're not folding no clothes. We're not ironing our kids' clothes. We're not doing none of that. And that is a part of, you know what I'm saying, not just you being a great partner, but you being a parent, right? And if you have kids, so like a lot of it is us, you know what I'm saying? Like I understand that in a relationship, you're gonna have highs and lows. Where your partner lacks, you got to pick up, and where you lack, she's gonna have to pick up, right? And I think that conversation that's what we have to have, a more of a middle ground, and not just, you know what I'm saying, understanding that we in this thing just because we look good together.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Mr. and Mrs. She said, what's your perspective? How do we, instead of these situations ripping us apart and really showing us the division that we have that exists between black men and black women, how can we start coming together now? What's your thought on that?
Better modeling, better teaching, especially from the women. We advocate, like you guys said, we push through a lot of, progress for us as people, women. So we need to start to stand up for our men. We need to give the accolades in the home, because like I said, even if you grew up in homes where there were married couples, the mothers didn't give a lot of praise and salutes to the father, for more than just going to work and putting in that 10, 12-hour shift. He was consistent. He was considerate and empathetic to everybody's purpose in the family. You know what I mean? It was just so much more than just, what we didn't see. And, shame on our mothers and grandmothers for not telling us, for the ones who did have those men in the homes. You know what I mean? But we have not been taught over the last 30, 40 years to really, value y'all. Y'all are not valued. We're kind of, manipulators with our emotions and fucking hormones and victimization up top just to control the dynamic in relationships. You know what I mean? So we got to do a little better in wanting to control everything and be superior to men. A lot of the mindset is happening like that, but I think we're kind of screwed right now. I think, it's no change is really going to happen for maybe another 2 generations. So, hopefully they'll see these things and see the gripes and, work through our problems and deal with more solutions. But it's really understanding one another, that we are different creatures. You're a man, I'm a woman, and we're different. Our comprehension is different. Our hormonal makeup, everything is just different, and it should just be respected, and there should be some empathy and sympathy. And a lot of us are just selfish and self-absorbed. So, that I don't know if that's ever going to change. It's going to take some time.
Excellent.
For me, it lies in the consciousness, Sir Hale, and for everybody else on the panel. I think that being from New York, when we used to learn things, it was a certain consciousness that we were proud of. We learned about not eating pork, and we telling everybody, oh, you still eating pork, and yada, yada, yada. And, all of the rest of the things that we learn about, whether it's fashion, whether it's life, whether it's finances, but we don't have that same consciousness, the same confidence about relationships, about marriage, about coexisting with another person. Like the missus said, we hear a lot of the negative stories. And even when you ask a woman what she wants, or you ask a man what he wants, they're going to tell you what they don't want. Well, I don't want a Keisha. I don't want a baby mama. I don't want yada, yada. And it's just, we don't have the mindset of the positivity, a mindset of, like the brother said, the glass being half full. We're so focused on the things we don't have that we are not appreciative of the things that we do have. And I think we can be more conscious. We can celebrate our relationships. We can remind each other why we fell in love. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I try to, have a date night, try to incorporate different things to just spark that flame that used to be there, that the kids and life and finances and things got in the way, and buying a house, but the commonality is still us two. We were there from day one. We here on day 3,400 and whatever, and we gonna keep going. But if it's Saturday, if it's old school R&B or reggae or a glass of wine or a reggae festival, that's gonna bring back that memory that just helps us remember that I love you, you love me, and we gonna continue to move together through this. With all of this negativity spewing in these boxes, we still keep pushing forward and curate our home and curate our relationship, because there are young people that want to be married, that want to be in relationships, and they're looking for a reason. And hopefully they can see that there is, healthy love that exists. There is struggle love. People do come up together and see each other through the goods and the bads and come out on the other side of the tunnel with nothing but light. So, we just wish nothing but love and abundance to each and every last one of y'all young couples that's working at it and thinking about working at it, and just, love up on somebody, because that's the best thing that you can do. You love up on the people that love up on you. The ones that don't want the message, let it fly. But, shout out to all of the young lovers. Shout out to all of the young relationships. Y'all keep pushing forward and try to build, what everybody deserves and what we all need. We need that curation.
So appreciate y'all. Hair strap. Just love y'all, man. All right, Sir Charles, what's your thoughts on this, man? How do we take these situations that rip us apart, and how do we find ways to come back together? How do we do that? What's your thought on that? And I'm sorry, one last thing, guys. If one of the trolls are tripping, just let them trip. Like I said, the masculine energy has become a member of the channel, so if they pay the troll, they get some benefits and some perks. So they pay for the troll, and so let's fine. Let's keep the conversation. So Charles, what's your thought about this?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that I am a hopeless optimist. Right? I'm always looking at the positive side. I don't believe that there's much. I believe I'm fully in control of what my world is and what it becomes. And essentially, I just don't believe that you're going to make a change by pointing and blaming. I constantly preach on our platform or what have you that men should or it is best. I say it is best that men go through life from a position of power, abundance, and leadership. And when I say leadership, because we talk about women and what they're not doing, how do we get them to do what we want them to do? Well, there's a quote that I love by Frederick Douglass that says, "Power concedes nothing without a demand." Well, you can't make a demand unless you have leverage, right? And what is your leverage? Well, you can leverage your attention and your association. Unfortunately, for some of us men, our attention and our association don't mean nothing. It ain't it because and I'm gonna bring it all back around. It don't mean nothing. Why? Because you ain't built yourself up to become a leader or to move from a position of power, of abundance. A lot of us walk around, woe is me, we weak, we operate out of lack, and we don't influence nobody. Essentially, that's what leadership is. Leadership is essentially being able to influence and being an asset in every space that you occupy. And a lot of us, we have no influence on anybody, and we're liabilities in our respective spaces. And we want to tell women what they should do, right? I see a lot of men, and I'm not even on front. I see a lot of men who complain about women doing X, Y, Z, and it's like, bruh, I see why. But nevertheless, we can make these changes by simply becoming the better version of yourself. And women, I just firmly believe, and this is practiced throughout my life, and I see men practice it. And men, when men become the best versions of themselves, a woman will acquiesce and she'll fall in line because she wants your attention and your association. We could look at the couple right here, the Harris tribe. Brother Harris, strong brother. No, and there's no question in my mind why how he got Miss She Said. There's no question in my mind. The brother's solid. He's mentally stable, and his attention and his association means something to her. And so I'm just saying, a lot of times we whoa, I was blinded for a minute. A lot of times we're trying to change the world from without, right? We want everything to change, but we got to understand that your world changes when you change. There's no other way. There's no that song. Every time I say that song comes to mind. Waiting on the world to change. I don't even know the whole song, but I just like that part, right? You waiting on the world to change is not going to change it. You have to change your world. So if women are acting a certain way, if women are acting a certain way in your presence, and you can't leverage your attention and your association to get them to change, then there's something wrong with you. I'm not saying this I'm saying this to empower men to understand that anything in your life that you don't like, you have the power to change it, but you got to change yourself first. And that's all. And I'm telling you, for men who operate from positions of power, abundance, and leadership, typically we gonna have the problems that other men talk about, women being all toxic and this and that. I just because you ain't even a part. I will use my association and my attention as leverage to get you to fall in line, or I'll dispose of you.
You know
and
what?
That's my position.
The secret sauce of all this is men having the ability to let stuff go. The reason why a lot of us we never get a chance to see what we're capable of, we'll be so busy holding on to everything trying to change folks. No, sir. Your power is in your ability to let people go. If they're not giving you what you need, and of course, be sensible. But when you get a man who knows who he is and he's unafraid to let people go for what he wants, you can't really mess with that kind of guy. And so I agree with what you said, Sir Charles. There was a time in my life, story time with Sir Hill Speaks. There was a time in my life where I would have people around with just leeches and women who just masculine. I just don't make time for that. I can't change you. And if you're not going to change and you just can't be around, lady, no, lose my number. I'm not going to answer for you anymore, right? Because you get to choose who's around and who circles around you. And if you don't take that power, then what you'll start to see is you're going to attract people who drain you and who take from you, and you feel bad and you feel down. And for productive, successful men, the people around you make a difference. Like, I make no mistake, the people you talk to on a regular basis influence how high you go. right? Either they help elevate your conversation or they help pull the conversation down. And so we got to be very particular about that and exercise the power of letting go. With that being said, I want to give everybody final thoughts as we wrap up on this Christmas day. So
I want to ask Sir Charles a question real quick, though.
No, we got to go. But if we can't say it for the after show, though, I want to get everybody's final thoughts. And if we have more time, we'll get to that. Okay. So Bean, since you volunteered, and I really don't like it that your shades are a little bit nicer than mine, but we'll talk about this at a different date. What's your final thoughts on today's topic, and how can people get in contact with you?
My final thoughts is Puerto Rican women are God. Ecuadorian women,
damn,
running up the rear. Egyptian women, also amazing.
Nice.
But the irony is that the ones I like the most are the ones that have African features, quote unquote black features. So I just want to say we say a lot of stuff about women, constructively criticizing them. I have a lot of doubts and disbeliefs about things changing, and I've really in the last couple of years come to the realization that women are terrorists.
Get this monster.
I just have to accept it, right? But at the end of the day, y'all still look amazing. And so because of that, I'm going to not click the like, but I am going to look at your Instagram pictures. I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to follow you, but I am going to look at your Instagram pictures and your TikToks. And and so and your Twitter accounts. And I just want to say, just keep.
I made it your voice went high pitched when you were saying those things. Podcast.
Just keep having nice feet, big booties, nice breasts, C cups, full lips. Just do the natural hair, and there'll be some guys out here like myself that'll look past your terrorism. All right. Listen, it's your boy Beans, aka Lil Podcast. You can reach me via Cash App at $ Emerge Network. That's EMERGENETWORK via Cash App. All money is accepted in increments of fives. So that is how you can reach me, support me. I am Broken Dusty, Pookie Ray Ray. I didn't get nothing for Christmas. My mama didn't even give me no hug. My water pipes froze. I couldn't use my sink, my toilet, my bathroom, or nothing. I had to drive all the way to Chicago because I have no running water in my house for the holidays. And no heat in the second half of my house, including the bedroom or the bathroom. It was literally ice in my toilet. So please hit the Cash App. I'm not going to use it on none of that stuff, but it'll just make me feel better. You know what I'm saying? If y'all and look out for your boy. See, this is going to prove whether or not people like honesty, though. If my phone ring, then I just want them to know like people really like honesty. If they don't, keep sending your money to the rich people. It's your boy.
Podcast says, hello, Cam, what's your final thoughts on the show tonight?
My final thoughts, man, are
I pipe it, but I ain't gonna spend no money on none of it.
Oh my God. My final thoughts, like I said, man, it's for me, personally, I'm always gonna go back to the 90-10 rule. 90% of what we go through is always going to be self-inflicted. The other 10% we can't control. And a lot of times we focus on the things that we can't control versus the things that we can, like being in certain places, doing certain things, being around certain people. Like I said, you always have a chance and a choice. You choose to be around the people that you want to be around, and you have every right and every opportunity to make that difference, man. So make sure y'all do that.
Yep. And how can people connect with you?
Oh yeah, you can follow us on YouTube, Mindfully Misunderstood. And if you want to follow my Instagram, it's cam2_official on everything.
Excellent. Thanks, my brother. Thanks so much for being here. We really enjoyed having you, man. Mr. He Said, Mr. She Said, you guys always come through and show love. Like I said, you guys are really one of those couples that I really highly respect. So thanks for making the time tonight. What's your final thoughts, and how can the people connect with you?
Thank you, Sir Hal. It's always a blessing, coming up here and being on the panel to discuss anything, any type of topics. We can be reached, Harris Tribe Media Group, anywhere social. Yeah, Mrs. She Said, I got Shame Sunday on Sundays, and Mr. He Said has Cerebral on Saturdays. Come and subscribe for more content. We here for it all. I appreciate always coming up and being an advocate for men. I grew up around a slew of you gentlemen, and it wasn't many bad apples that spoiled the bunches. Let me just say that. I grew up with a lot of great women too, so I'm not going to discredit them, but I like to point out the optimism, in my love and honor for the men who have paved the way for many of us. So, I'm for pushing that agenda for you guys. So if we're looking for solutions, ladies, come on over. I'm trying to change your perspective of how you see men. I know it may be impossible, but there's a brighter light. There's a brighter light. And if we push to that, we can create a better dynamic for the young people coming behind us.
Thank you for having us, Sir Hale. Always a pleasure. Shout out to the panel. Sir Charles, the God, always a pleasure. Beans, always a pleasure. Kiki, she know it's always a pleasure. And nice to meet the brother from Mindfully Understood. Cam, it was a pleasure. And I just say 2023, play your position. I'm a sports person. I'm big on play your position, even if, we had a 7-foot guy that could drain threes all day. His ass still better get down there on that block, because number one, it disrupts the order of things. Who's going to get the rebounds now? Because you big, you belong down there. Number two, it confuses the crowd. Who the hell is running that team? The big guys is shooting, the little guys is, what the hell's going on there? So, play your position, do what you do well. And women are very well at being feminine and inspiring us men with femininity. And I can't speak for everybody, but it is my pride and joy to go out every morning at 6 o'clock to make the money to pay these bills for this woman, because she appreciates me. She articulates it. She expresses it to the children and have them reverb it to me as well. She points out the bills that I pay. She shows them what I do, because they think I don't do nothing. They think I leave here and just come back, and they don't think she do nothing. And she's a home school teaching mom. I'm telling my daughter, like, she taught you today. She took you out. She cooked dinner. She washed the clothes. And then I came home, and you talking about she ain't do nothing. So, the world, I don't know if the world don't see, if it's just our kids that don't see, but play your position. And when you play your position well, you're good at what you do, your team is probably going to win. And if you continue to win, you'll more than likely win a championship. Championship is success for your kids, success for your family, a White House with a picket fence, whatever. But win. Stop looking for reasons to lose. Stop sabotaging your team to lose, or get traded. Go somewhere where you're appreciated or you want to play. But if this is not the team you want to play on, get the hell out of here. If you're going to stay, accept your role on this team, play your position so we can win. We are He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance every Thursday at 8 o'clock on YouTube. Not a lot of people come and watch, but it still be good. So thank you for having us, Sir Hale. It's always a pleasure. We'll be back whenever you invite us.
Excellent. Appreciate y'all so much. Hey guys, I want everybody to go make sure you subscribe to Mr. He Said. Moderators, let's drop their links I really want everybody to subscribe. Like I said, in 2023, I'm going to be really dealing even deeper in relationships, and I got to have you guys on here because it's one thing for people to have the right answers. It's a different thing. Wait up.
Somebody please don't get this man.
Wait up.
All I'm trying to say is that for 50 cents a day, you can support a little podcast. It don't take a lot. As you can see, I got this old dusty hat that I've been holding on to protect myself from the rain and the snow and the elements.
So let me tell you guys what happened, guys. Let me tell you what happened tonight. Moments ago, he went out, to go get him some food, and walked down, and he was viciously beat, and the hoodie and glasses he had were taken away from him, guys. So listen, if you guys want to contribute to the fund and getting his clothes back, I want you guys to hit the link, sirhellspeaks.com, and I'll be sure to get it all over to him. Thank you guys so much for your contributions tonight. We appreciate you.
All I miss is my cigarette.
Hey, look, let me get Sir Charles. We're gonna wrap the show up. Sir Charles, what's your final thoughts on tonight's topic? I was serious about that, guys. Help podcast staff by sending me to my Cash App. Thank you, guys. Sir Charles, what's your final thoughts on tonight's topic?
You muted, brother.
Well, the conversation was about the Tory Lanez finding himself in a situation. No matter how you slice it, he put himself there. Now, I know it sounds harsh, but even myself, I've found myself in situations where things went wrong, and I could blame everybody else, but no one drugged me there. I was there, and lesson learned, right? Hopefully things could get turned around for the brother through an appeal, but and I hope he learned some valuable lessons. And that goes for all of us, man. We need to be cognizant of the decisions we make, because we think we're going out and having a good time or what have you, and then next thing you know, hey, it goes awry. So even me, man, I've done some things, and I thank God it didn't go way left. So I'm not speaking from a place of like I'm better than or nothing, because I'm actually working on an autobiography, so my book will be coming out. I ain't gonna be telling everything here, but that's pretty much it. Listen, when we find ourselves in these situations, I just personally believe it is useful to take personal responsibility and accountability for everything that happens in your life. Everything. Yes, I said everything. And the reason why is because it gives you a level of power to control the direction of your life, as opposed to looking at, oh, well, that's influenced me, and everything else is control of where you go in life. And I don't buy that. And for whoever that helps, I hope it helps. But that's helped me, and that's helped me actually steer the direction of my life. And that's essentially it. Listen, Sir Hale, thank you for having me once again. I appreciate the opportunity to grace this panel. Thank you to the other panelists. Thank you to the chat. Appreciate the comments. Listen, I am one half of Mindfully Misunderstood, Sir Charles the God. Great to have my brother Cam 2 Official. We host a show on YouTube every Tuesday, 8 p.m. And actually, we're going to start interviewing some guests. We got some guests lined up. So watch out for those shows coming. And please hop over there, subscribe, like, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And Godspeed.
I appreciate you, Sir Charles. And again, everybody, I want to echo something that one of our dear brothers said. Shout out to Sugar Bum. Good to see you tonight. Yellow Pill, good to see you. Thanks for being here tonight. Yes, I want to reiterate something for podcast, and this is for podcast. Bill with me said it so poetically, and I think it necessitates me repeating and echoing what he says. He says, help him by sending money to Sir Hale, and Sir Hale will not spend it on him. I think this is a prolific way to say exactly what's on my heart. Send it to me, and I'll make sure that podcast doesn't get it. All right, guys, it's been a great show tonight. You guys, hope that you have a Merry Christmas. We love you guys. You guys have a great night. Until next time, it's been real. We'll talk with you guys again soon. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace. May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate it. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.